Hello, everybody. I'm Thomas, and welcome back to another Solo Gaming Sunday this week, 2d6 Dungeon Edition, where I will be playing the solo player dungeon crawler, 2d6 Dungeon. This is a stream that I was supposed to do a couple weeks back, and I had to postpone it, but I'm looking forward to playing it here today. I did use some of these rules in one of my previous videos on Let's Roll Up a Dungeon, where I use the dungeon generation method that's in 2d6 Dungeon in that series to generate the structure of a dungeon. And I remember it being pretty straightforward, and I liked it. And so the more I've been playing this, the more I've been learning the dungeon generation systems, and the more I've been just liking it overall. But it's a fun game. I've been playing it for the first time a bit more this week, trying to prepare for the stream. And yeah, it's pretty chill, pretty fun. And I think it'll be a pretty good time. Hello there, Chris. You never heard this? I'm excited. Yeah, it's a good one. I would say I do call this, it is like an RPG, but also it isn't. Like, this is more close to something like 4 Against Darkness or D100 Dungeon, where it's just a solo dungeon crawler system. But I mean, I'll talk about this more. I always do kind of like a final thoughts at the end, but I do think, at least compared to like 4 Against Darkness and D100 Dungeon, which are like the closest comparisons, I would say, I think I like this a lot better. Granted, I haven't played this as much as the other two, but there's a lot of things in here that I like that kind of differentiate it from the other two. Yeah, but I'm going to be looking forward to getting into that here in just a bit. Hope everybody has had a good week since last week. Had a bit of a busy week. I got a busy week coming up, but that's, it's just how it is. I hit 1,000 subscribers last week, which is very exciting and huge milestone for the channel. So thank you all so much for that. And next week, I'll talk about this more kind of at the end when I do my schedule for the upcoming week. But next Sunday stream, I plan on doing a 1,000 subscriber special. Which I have a couple ideas, but I think I have one that I'm going to kind of lock in. Once again, I'll talk about that more at the end. And then also next week on that stream, I'll be announcing a couple of small things. A couple of small announcements for the channel. Exciting stuff, fun stuff, nothing bad. So yeah, that was another thing that happened last week. What else? I've been playing more as Bullet Heart this last week. It's such a fun game. It's a game that I've been like kind of keeping set up on like my kitchen table, and then when I just have some time, I'll play a game or two. I've been trying more of the different characters, playing as some of the other bosses and whatnot. So like recently I've been playing as the Mark, the pilot character, and she is a lot of fun. She might be quickly becoming one of my favorites. I've been trying some of the other bosses. Like this last week, I've been trying to fight like Mecha Marnie, and she's pretty interesting because all of her boss patterns like start out, and then you have to like slowly clear them away. So yeah, the game's lots of fun. And then I've been playing this last week, which has been a lot of fun. Pretty easy to learn. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more difficult than I anticipated, but the rules itself are pretty straightforward. There's just a lot of tables. Like there's a whole separate PDF just for the tables, along with the rule book. I also had to print out a bunch of stuff, so I have like this whole big old, it's kind of hard to see, I have this stack of cards for all the different enemies, and then kind of hidden under my camera I have like a stack of cards for some of the different herbs, and then some for the different gods in this game that you can like worship and earn favor with, I think is the main thing, which there's like a little spot on the character sheet for. But yeah, this game is quite a lot of fun, and I don't know if I'm gonna keep rambling. Maybe I'll just kind of start hopping into the rules, going over that, and we'll see how far we get in this game. Get a quick sip of water before we start. All right, so 2d6 Dungeon is a game developed by Toby Lancaster, and it is a solo player dungeon crawler game. I don't know if it calls itself an RPG, and I don't want to get too like in the weeds of what an RPG and what isn't. Like I would say it kind of is, but it isn't in the sense of like a D&D. It's more closer to like a 4 Against Darkness or a D100 dungeon or a Derelict Delvers than, like a Iron Sworn or Pathfinder or something like that. So, but yeah, it's a classic style dungeon crawl, print and play, roll and write game designed for solo play. It is only designed for solo play, and that's kind of one thing that I don't want to say sucks about it, but I kind of like, after I've played this a little bit, I was like, man, this would be a fun game to play with other people, and maybe they'll do that in like a future expansion, is add like multiplayer rules. But yeah, at the moment, it's just a solo only game. What you need to play is just the core rule book, which I have in PDF form on my iPad here, along with the Tables Codex book, which I also have on my iPad. I'll be kind of flipping between the two. It might be a little not the smoothest way to do it, but that's just how I'm going to be doing it here today. And then you need 2d6, obviously, or more, which I have, a handful in my dice tray. Pencil, eraser, you need dotted grid sheets, combat, the character sheet, which I already got. So all of that's good. And then all the cards printed out, which I've already done. The setting for 2d6 is its own fantasy world called Corradine. It is a land where the people have a long-standing peace and war seemingly forgotten, and the regions and realms respect a unified sovereignty. But beneath the shroud of peace is a turbulent underworld, a dark realm that is riddled with dungeons and underground chambers with monsters hide away, guarding their treasure, and organized groups of bandits and brigands form plans to raid the settlements above. Although Corradine features some of the classic fantasy heritages, it also has new unique ones, some twisted by their time in the darkness, others warped by their desire to break the harmony above. Parties and adventurers play their part in ridding the world of the terrors by venturing forth into the dungeons that litter the land. Those found dungeons in the realm are evil and will try to destroy those who dare enter. So I kind of talked about this earlier, but there are some different gods in this game, the subterranean gods specifically. So the gods of the underworld are ambivalent to those on the surface, but as an adventurer who is entering these depths, you must be aware of what they offer, for it is possible to gain their favor of these needy deities. So as you progress through the dungeon, you will encounter shrines, fountains, and monuments dedicated to these subterranean gods where you can make offerings. And there's like a whole thing. Basically, each god has their own little card, and each god has like different favorite items. So you can offer them, I don't know if you can offer them anything, but I think you have to give them a favorite item, and then some, they give you extra like favor points, and then you can, I'll get into favor points here in a bit, but it's a thing. It's a currency. There's a spot on your character sheet for it. Coinage and gems. So in the world of Corradine, there are 3 types of coin. There's a gold, silver, and copper. 10 copper equals 1 silver. 10 silver equals 1 gold. Copper coins are lightweight. 100 of them are worth 1 gold. There's also gems and pearls are used as a method of payment, as traders will accept them instead of coins. And there's a little gem value table, which I think is pretty cool, that you can have different types of gems. So you can have like a pearl, but then you have different types of quality also. So you can have a low quality pearl, mid quality pearl, or a high quality pearl, which I think is a pretty neat thing to have. There's different side quests that can happen. So the core aim of the game is to gather treasure, experience points, and a legacy status. But there are small narrative quests that can be picked up while exploring. There's sometimes objects or pieces of information that could be noted, and there's a little side quest area on my character sheet to write all of that in. Maybe at times I'll have a bunch of side quests. Maybe at times I'll have none. It just depends on what the dice say. But what's nice is you do gain 50 XP per level for each side quest completed. So if I'm at level 2, I'd get 100 experience per side quest. So 10 levels. So the aim of 2d6 dungeon is to complete 10 levels of the dungeon. You can't just complete, the first level 10 times. That's not how this works. When a level is completed, you ticket off the legend status level tracker on the character sheet. And completing a dungeon level may take a number of tries. You'll probably have to leave the dungeon, return with better equipment to be able to face the harder creatures of the deeper levels. Rarely does an adventurer complete all 10 levels in one outing. That does sound like kind of a fun challenge to do at some point, but I'm not going to attempt that today because I'll talk about this here in a second. But there are ways, like once you enter the dungeon, that you can leave and then come back. But apparently, I guess it's probably also possible if you're maybe really good or really lucky to not ever have to leave the dungeon and complete all 10 levels just in one go, which I've played this game a little bit now, and that seems like a really hard thing to do. So I don't know how that's possible. So becoming a legend. So you can become a legend if you complete each individual level of a dungeon as described above. Then you will receive legendary reward in the town as acknowledgement of your achievement. Once you become a legend, you can progress into legendary dungeons, which is going to be a future expansion of 2d6. So pretty cool way to do that. So the dice, it's important to understand that the core of 2d6 dungeon is narrative, and the engine that powers it is the set of tables in the tables codex book, which is the other PDF. It's fair to say that the game embraces tables on many levels. I think pun included there, because there's a bunch of levels to the dungeon, and there's a ton of tables in the other PDF, and there's a lot of tables for specific levels. So you'll have like level 1 rooms, level 2 rooms, and there's like a bunch of tables for each level. So there's different types of rolls. So a D3, you just roll a D6 and you count every 2 options as one option. D6 roll is just a normal D6. 2D6 is where you roll 2D6, but then you don't add them together. You just take them as separate values. So 4 and a 4. And then there's D66 where you roll these together. Or I guess 2D, yeah, I guess I said that backwards. 66 is like this, and then 2D6 is where you just add them together. So that's another doubles. Man, I just rolled 2 back-to-back doubles just tossing the dice. One important thing to note in this is that when you roll 2d6, 1 dice will be a primary dice, 1 dice is a secondary dice. And that's important for a couple of reasons, mainly because when you're rolling as a d66, you need to know which digit is your first and which is your second. I rolled doubles again. What's going on? So how I'm going to be playing it is just my blue dice will always be my primary, white dice will be my secondary dice. And that's just kind of how that will work. Sometimes there's this thing called the modified ranges rule, where pretty much if a table, sometimes you'll be told to roll on a table with a modifier that's, and let's say it's a D6 table. So it has options 1 to 6, but it might say, roll on this table -1. So you take your result, you -1. But what it pretty much says is, well, if you roll on a table that has 6 options, you roll 1, you -1, that's 0. There's no option for 0, so you just take the lowest result. Vice versa is true as well. So if you're rolling and adding a modifier, you roll the top result. You don't go above the table. You just take the top result, and that's kind of that. And those are the basic rules. So then there's character creation. I think I'll skip over this for now, and we'll come back to character creation after I talk about the rest of the rules. Or I don't know, maybe I can create them now and then talk about the rest of the rules. I don't know what the best order is, because then some of the stuff might not make sense if I don't go over it now. Yeah, let's do character creation now. Why not? I'm gonna grab my pencil and eraser, and we'll quickly create a character. Luckily, it is a very straightforward thing to do. So character name, I'm gonna go with Trusty Marbash. I will be level 1. One of the first things you have to do then is there's this thing called your shift number, and mine starts out as a +2. Then you also have a discipline number. Mine starts out as +1. And then you also have a number for your precision, which mine starts out as a 0. I will explain what all of these numbers mean here in a second. I also start with 10 health points, which is not a whole lot. I start out with 0 XP. You need 100 for your first level. And then I get to select my starting weapon. The starting weapon choices are either a longsword, great axe, or heavy mace. And then you write your option in the weapon spot. I think I'm gonna go with great axe, mainly because I've done 2 other playthroughs and I've chose the other weapons. So I'm gonna go with great axe this time and see what that's like. And so now I get to choose 2 starting maneuvers. And also one thing it notes in here is that each weapon is also blessed by the Zegor priests to deal damage to undead. So that's just something they kind of mention in there, that your weapons have been blessed. So now we need to hop to the tables codex, as I need to go to one of the many tables to get the weapon maneuvers table. So yeah, maybe I should wait to do the rest of character creation until I talk about more of the rules, or else it's going to feel like kind of out of place. Yeah, I'll save character creation until I finish talking about the rules, because some of it I'm just going to keep like kind of explaining in the middle, and I don't like that. So I'll wait to do this until after I go through all the rules and whatnot. Hello there, Christopher. Looking forward to seeing how you hit the dungeon. Good Sunday to you, sir. Good Sunday to you too. Welcome on in. Yeah, this is a dungeon delver for sure. Especially like the whole goal of the game is just to complete this mega dungeon that has 10 levels. Hopefully I'll get through. I have at least papers enough for 2 levels. I don't envision getting much further than that. I could die on the first level, who knows? But hopefully I'll make it far. That'd be kind of disappointing if I just died right away. I also don't have another character sheet printed out, so that would kind of suck if I died. I'll just have to like erase this one or something, but I'll jump off that bridge if that happens. Which I don't think it will, but maybe it will. So, based on, so I'll hop back to character creation here in a second. But there are different levels. You can be up to level 10, and different levels give you different stats. Mainly you have stuff called maneuvers, which I'll talk about here in a bit. Depending on your level, that dictates your shift value, your discipline value, your precision value, and also your health points. So whenever you level up, you get to increase some of those depending on whatever level you are, which is pretty neat. You also, whenever you level up, get 10 health points added to your current health points, along with like your baseline HP gets bumped up. And when you pass a level, you can also swap out one of your maneuvers with a different maneuver, which once again, I'm going to get to those, I think, soon. I've never seen anybody do a video where they made it past Dungeon 2. Wait, really? Oh, that doesn't make me feel good. Yeah, I don't know. My last run, I was doing a run earlier today, and I died pretty quickly on on level 1. So I just had some bad luck though, and maybe it's like I should have healed, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I haven't made it to level 2 yet, but we'll see. So there's rules on capacity, on what you can carry. Pretty much, you have like a backpack, so you can carry stuff. Normally, you can carry up to 10 large or heavy items. Your backpack doesn't count as an item. And one thing it mentions is you can carry 5 potions, 3 magic scrolls, yada, yada, yada. Nothing too crucial. Health points, nothing I need to really talk about there. Death. So if your HP reaches 0, you fall unconscious. If you are fighting an enemy, they finish you off, you are dead. There's no death saving roll. There's no chance to come back. If you're in the middle of a fight and you go down, you're dead, you're done, adventure over, start again. If you are reduced to 0 by any other means, such as poison or starvation, there is a table that you can roll on to see what happens. So, into the dungeon, 2d6 dungeon, naturally it revolves around your adventure in the dungeon, where you go from level 1 to level 10. Dungeon ancestry. So each dungeon indicates the primary species that occupies it, and often they are the builders of this underworld, but sometimes they have taken over an abandoned dungeon, and are the most commonly found species and the majority of it. So in this edition of 2d6 Dungeon, it mainly deals with dungeons that have a human ancestry. So human dungeons tend to be more functional than, say, a monster or orc dungeon. And it just talks a little bit more about that. But that's kind of the gist of it is, yeah, all these dungeons will be kind of human-centric dungeons, be a little bit more functional than, like it mentions, like an orc, dungeon or something like that. Level information. So in the table codex, for each level, there'll be a bit of text describing stuff about the particular level and stuff like that. There might be special rules for certain levels. And light is not something you need to worry about because they have ample lighting, so there's no penalty apply. But other types of dungeon ancestry in the future might have rules for lighting. So, rules for generating a dungeon for the dungeon rooms. So I have this grid piece of paper here, which I have outlined. I forget how many squares it is. I honestly didn't I didn't remember to count it. It's something like 20 something squares by 30 something squares. Essentially, it recommends having at least a 20 by 20 paper grid to do your to draw your little outline on, which is called like the outer boundary. And then at some spot on here, you'll mark where your entrance is going to be, which mine I'm just going to put right in the center. Just did 2 little parallel lines, and that marks your dungeon entrance. From there, most dungeon rooms are generated the same, where you roll 2d6, one as the width of the dungeon, one as the height for the room. So this would be a 2 width room by 6 height room, and you just do it in squares. So 2 squares by 6 squares, that's the size of the room. The entrance room is a little bit different. It has like specific size requirements that it could be. Then you'll roll a d6 to see how many exits there are. So on a 1, there's no exits. 2 to 3, there's 1 exit. A 4 and a 5, there's 2 exits. Or on a 6, there are 3 exits. If you ever roll a double, that would have been cool if I did that when I said that. If you ever roll a double when generating the size of the room, as long as it's not double 6s, you roll again, and then you'd add that to your previous result just to get some more variety and bigger rooms. So a small room is defined as something that's 6 or smaller squares. Large room is 32 or larger squares. There are separate tables to roll on for either small or large rooms or a normal sized room. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Corridors are a thing. So if you roll, 3 by 1 room, well, it's not really a room. That's a corridor. So this would be a corridor going up and down 3 that just has a width of 1. And they function pretty much the same as rooms, where you just draw them, you roll for number of exits, but the exits are always archways, and corridors don't have any special features or anything that you roll on. Because once you have your room set up, then you roll for your room type. So most of the time there will be a table to roll on for whatever level you're on to see what's in the room. Is it a jail? Is it a barracks? Is it just a bare room? So you roll these 4 and a 5, and you would reference the table. And like I kind of mentioned, whether it's a small room or a large room, there are also separate tables to roll on for those. After you do that, also the room type that you roll up will have certain exit types. So if you're rolling up a barracks, that might have wooden doors. Well, if you're rolling up a bare room, all of the exits might just be corridors. So depending on what type of room you roll up, it'll have a little spot in the column to say what type of exits it has. So that's something to note. Then once you have the doors, you also need to then roll to see let me make sure if I'm getting this part of the step right. I think at this point then you would roll to see what doors are locked, because by default no doors are locked, but then you roll a d6 to see whether metal doors, reinforced doors, or all doors are locked, and there's a little table to reference for that. After you do that, then you actually will do if there's an encounter, if there's an enemy in the room, you'll deal with them, and then finally, if there's any other stuff to interact with in the room, you can do that. And pretty much how this game works is there's no pawn to move around on the board. Just this, when you go into a room, you do the stuff in the room, you do the encounter, and then it's over with. If you go back to that room, there's not going to be new stuff. It's just, that's it. So, yeah. Hello there, Nathaniel Robinson. Thanks for playing this. I am curious to know what D6 does differently than other dungeon generating games. And I'll definitely talk more about that kind of in my final thoughts, especially comparing to other like dungeon diving games like 4 Against Darkness and D100 Dungeon are like the 2 main comparisons that come to my mind. I think it does differ very much from those 2. And I do say I think I would do like this better than either of those, because it does have some pretty cool aspects to it. That's how rooms are sketched out and done. And then essentially I'll be drawing them out on my little paper here, filling in my boundary. And then once I get to the last room, that's where the stairs are that go down. So you can take the stairs down to the next level. I already talked about most of that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Some rooms might be unique rooms, so they can only appear once in a level. And there are also some rooms that only appear after a percentage of the level is discovered. So like in this little example, this room it can only be there if 60% of the dungeon has already been explored, which I haven't run into any of those rooms. I know it says roughly 60%, but I feel like that's kind of hard to judge. I think you have to just eyeball it, and like there's no really, unless you feel like counting squares up or something, which feels a little weird, but I haven't encountered those at all, so that's that. Checking doors. I guess you check doors when you're ready to leave the room. That's when you can roll on this little lock table where pretty much if you roll a 6, all doors are locked. A 5 or a 6 is reinforced doors are locked, and a 4 and a 6, metal doors are locked. A lot of the doors will just be wooden doors, so the only time wooden doors are actually locked is on a 6. So if a door is locked, what happens then? Well, you can try to find some lock picks and break through. So you do need lock picks to try to pick a door. You roll 2d6 and to write the quality of the lock that the door has. Some doors might have modifiers that say like lock -2, so you roll 2d6, you take 2 away. That's the lock number that you have to kind of beat to unlock it. And to pick the lock, you do a 2d6 roll and you add your precision modifier. And you get 1 roll per lock. You don't start with a set of lock picks, but they can be found in the dungeon. They have like modifiers that tell you how many you find and how much they boost your lock picking abilities. If you fail to pick the lock, then it has been damaged. You must wait for an enemy to come through the door before you can proceed in that direction. And there's rules for like if you have to wait for an enemy, you got to eat some rations, and if you don't have rations, you're starting to starve. So that's like a whole thing. But hopefully that doesn't happen to me, so I won't really go over that too much. There's portcullises in this game, so they always start down, and a lever can be found to open them up. And if you have to face an enemy, you can roll on the patrol table for that dungeon level, and then once they've been dealt with, you can see that the portcullises have been lifted up. So portcullises are their own thing to deal with. They always start down. They need to like find a lever or pressure plate to lift them up. There's also on level 3 onwards, there's stone slabs, which they don't have locks, so you can't, open them with lock picks, and they don't really open like doors at all, but they can be precariously balanced. So you could try to like push them over essentially, or deal a lot of damage to these stone slabs. That's on level 3 onwards, which we're not going to really get to today, I imagine. So not going to worry about that too much. At the deeper levels, there's also magical barriers. Once again, not going to talk about that too much, as I don't envision we're getting to that today. Tracking back is a thing you can do. So if you want to go to old rooms, you can. There will be no like new creatures there or anything, but you can only backtrack on the same level. You cannot go up levels or use backtracking as a means of leaving the dungeon. Any new rooms you enter must be encountered. This was one thing, I was reading the rules this morning. There's a couple of things that I don't get. Okay, and this was one of them. So it says, you cannot backtrack if you have re-entered a level, you must push forward. I don't really understand that. So I know I'll talk about here in a second, there are ways you can leave a level. So I don't know if that means if you leave a level and then come back, you just cannot backtrack on the same level. That kind of confused me. I don't understand the reasoning why you wouldn't be able to. I don't quite know. And there's a couple of things in the rules that I was not 100% sure about. So I'll kind of bring those up as I go through, because I might get those rules wrong, because I don't know if I fully understand them. But that was one thing that kind of confused me. Secret doors. So if you ever reach a point where you can go no further and less than half of the level has been generated, then you do not add stairs down. Instead, you select a room that has the most empty spaces around it, add a wooden door, and label it with an S to generate a new room as normal. This is another one I don't really understand. It says you cannot use a secret door to backtrack to a previous unit. It's only one way. So I guess that kind of makes sense. But secret door, it's only one way. You can't backtrack through it. Don't really know why, but I guess that's just how it works. Next level is you go downwards, the level numbers go up. Rations are a thing in this game, so between levels, you must stop on the stairs to eat a ration and build your strength for the fight ahead. If you have no rations, your health goes down. Resting on the stairs is the thing you can do while you eat rations to recover some health. You gain 2 HP per adventure level, and if you have cloth or bandage, you can gain additional health. Entrance to the next level, you just start in the center again, draw some stairs, bada bing, bada boom. Simple as that. Incentive usage, I'll quickly just talk about this. So when you explore the dungeon, the text will describe rooms and encounters, and at times this will include objects or features which theoretically can be interacted with. For example, a plate on a table or a fireplace. Even if the text does not prompt interaction, you can still act if you wish. And this is called incentive usage, and is an imaginative form of roleplay that allows you the freedom to improvise. However, there are some guidelines that should be followed. So essentially, you could do stuff with things that aren't directly like items in your inventory. And it talks about like if you're going into a canteen, and it's talking about there's a table and plates and all this, that even though it's not explicitly said in the rules that you could do stuff with these rules, you can do stuff with it. One of the things is just use common sense. You know, if you're trying to use a pillowcase for bandages, it's not going to supply unlimited bandages. You're not going to just be able to always heal yourself up. Use some common sense, yada, yada. Enemy corpses, you can't loot from, at least for the weapons and armor. The armor's been damaged. The weapons you're not trained with, but you can, and I don't know why this is mentioned, and maybe this is like for features later in the game, but it says you can, if you wish, remove organs or siphon blood if you have a container and you are keen to be able to sacrifice to one of the gods. So I guess one of the gods likes blood and organs, so you can harvest people organs and siphon their blood, I guess. If you do so, you get the bloodied status, which is a box on your character sheet that you mark. But yeah, there's stuff about if you want to make sounds, you might attract patrols. There's stuff for containers where you have different containers on your character. And if you want to bring something with you, you got to have a container for it. So if you see some water, well, do you have a bottle on you? If not, you're not bringing that water with you. And it mentions like you can't really mix containers. Like if you have a pouch full of ash, you can't mix that with a pouch full of leaves and stuff like that. Pretty straightforward stuff. Sometimes you might find ornate items that are only half an item, and if you find the other half, you can combine it with the same item to make a full item, I guess, and then it's worth triple the value. Christopher Ray, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Was that a high five? I like that little thing. That's pretty cool. Thank you. I do really appreciate that. So yeah, that's incentive usages. Fires, you can light fires in the dungeon, but you can't just start a fire on the ground. You need like a camp pit or a fireplace or something to do that. You start with a flint and steel, so you have a ways to light a fire, but if you need something to light on fire, that's like a whole nother thing. Offerings to gods, I kind of mentioned this earlier. So there's this currency called favor points. Each god has their own favor point track, and essentially you can donate items if you get to a certain monument of that god to give them items to get favor with them. And I'll talk about what you could do with those favor points later on. There are no rules for this. You can use it how you see is my favorite rule. I agree. That's why it's like, it maybe isn't a full like role-playing game, but stuff like this makes it feel more like a role-playing game where it's like, yeah, maybe there's no like specific rules for how to interact with a lot of these items, but with a little bit of rules, you can kind of just do whatever, which is pretty cool. I think it kind of makes it stand out a little bit. Another thing I really like about this game that I think sets it apart from other dungeon crawlers I've seen is that there's a decent amount of crafting in this game, and specifically with herbal remedies. So part of your training was in basic herbalism, and consequently, you know some useful remedies. So you can find a range of herbs in the dungeon that could be used by the resident medic. So there's Kanto spines, there's Zancamo stems, Ilios petals, Malacca leaves, Scarlet or Rivitas, and Zomoris leaves. And essentially there's all these different items that you can craft that make like medical supplies out of different herbs you find, which I think is a really cool aspect of the game. So there's 6 different herbs that can be made into 7 different types of herbal remedies. And another thing that's cool is when you craft stuff, you get experience. You get 5 experience per adventure level. So if you craft something in your level 3, you get 15 XP, which is pretty sweet. Precision checks are a thing in this game. Some things will have you do what's called a precision check, and it'll have a number for the precision check and then a number in parentheses. So in this example, it's a PC 8 parentheses 1, which means you need to pass, get higher than an 8, and you have 1 chance to do it. And a precision check, you roll 2d6, add the numbers together, and add your precision score, which for me, that would have been a 7, so I would have failed. You do these for certain tasks in the game, and it'll prompt you to do these. You can also sometimes fix stuff in the game, so if you find like broken things, if you have the necessary resources to fix them, no rolls need to be made. You just do it, and you also get experience for it, which is pretty cool. Making up rations. So while exploring the dungeon, you can find individual food on their own, which is not enough to make up a full ration. But if you find 3 or more food types, you can combine them to make a ration through incentive. I keep saying that incentive. It's not inventive usage. I think I was saying incentive earlier. It's an inventive usage. So if you find like a mushroom, pumpkin seeds, and potato, you can't really eat any of those on your own, but you combine them together and you can make a ration to use, which is, once again, I think a pretty cool aspect to this. For meat, so some animals you can kill and can be butchered for their meat. This does not include human or fungal creatures. Cannibalism reduces shift to 0, so it is not advised. I don't really know why that's in bold. If you can't butcher humans, how would cannibalism happen in the first place? And why would you want to do it? And why do you have to bold it to make it not advised? It's very strange, but it's probably something on like a lower level that I just haven't gotten to yet. But essentially when you butcher a creature, you'll gain the bloodied status and some uncooked meat. You have to wait till you have a fire to cook the meat, and then you'll be able to either just eat it or save it as a ration later. Okay, combat. So this is another thing that I think sets apart this game from other dungeon crawling games. The combat is very unique and very interesting, because it uses a couple of interesting things. So first off, you cannot flee from combat. All those who live in the dungeon are your enemy and see you in the same light, even animals. There are exceptions, but they will be clearly outlined in text. So 2d6 Dungeon uses 3 main mechanisms in combat, which are maneuvers, shift points, and interrupt stats. So maneuvers, really cool thing. So you and every other creature has specific maneuvers. Each maneuver has its own 2 dice combination, such as 3 and 4. If this combination is rolled during your combat, then that maneuver has been successfully executed. So I'm trying to zoom in a little bit on this example here, because the dice are kind of small. But you can see there's a stab ability, and that requires a 2 and a 4. Or, oh gosh, I just went back. This carving blow, which requires a 4 and a 1. Or this biting stroke, which costs a 2 and a 3 dice. And so that's why, once again, it's important to know which one's your primary, which one's your secondary, because that dictates which is first and which is second. So if I just roll this, that's a 5 and a 2. I can't do anything with that. That's nothing. But that's where shift points come in. So you and every other creature have a limited number of shift points, which can be used to turn a rolled dice to another result. You use 1 shift point to allow you to shift a result to 1 number higher or 1 number lower. So for example, I rolled a 5 and a 2. I can't do anything, but this carving blow requires a 4 and a 1. So I could shift this 5 to a 4 and this 2 to a 1, and boom, I've done that. I can only do that if I had 2 shift points, but that's essentially how they work. Shift points don't let you wrap back around, so a 6 cannot become a 1, and vice versa. That's just kind of as is. And that's how maneuvers and shift points works. And then there's this thing called interrupt stats. So most enemies have something called an interrupt stat. This represents some aspect of their physical makeup or magical energy that could be used to interrupt your attack. Perhaps it is some defensive element, unusual trait, magical ability. Essentially, the interrupt stats will look like this. So this one says, deflect on secondary ones -2 damage, which means if I do a maneuver where my secondary dice is a 1, then they will automatically do -1 damage or -2 damage as they deflect. Or this one is distract on a secondary 6. So if I do a maneuver where my secondary dice is a 6, they will do -1 damage. a creature can only do 1 interrupt stat per round. And those are interrupt stats. And that's kind of the gist of combat. So when a creature is generated, you'll need to resolve combat. The nature of these dungeons makes any creature you meet hostile towards you. You always go first, and then essentially you just roll to see if you do your maneuver first. There is a kind of critical strike in this game, which is called an exact strike, where in this case I rolled a 1 and a 6. If I have a maneuver that uses a 1 and a 6 and I don't have to shift at all, that means it's an exact strike, where instead of using your shift points to shift your dice, you essentially add them to your damage. So I start with a plus shift of 2. That means I could do whatever my maneuver says and add 2 damage to it. It's a pretty sweet thing. What else do I need to go over? Shifting dice, I kind of talked about that. Shifting dice for monsters. Monsters can also shift dice, and it works the same way. Missing is just if you can't shift into a maneuver, you miss. So another thing that's really cool about combat is this little card I have here, which is for the fatigue dice. And when you begin round of a combat, you place the dice on one side on this part here. And set it with the one side face up. You can kind of think of it like a round tracker. So this is the fatigue dice and acts as kind of a timer. Every time you finish a round, you turn the fatigue dice up by 1. When the dice reaches 4, so after at the start of the 4th round of combat, you and your enemies gain 1 shift, which I'll use this other dice for. And then on round 5, everybody gains 2 shift, and on round 6, everybody gains 3 shift. And the fatigue dice, kind of as it sounds, is just made to represent your adventure and your enemies becoming more tired as they fight, leaving themselves open to attacks and making them easier to hit. Which, once again, I think is a pretty cool aspect. A nifty thing. It also makes sure that fights in combat doesn't drag out too long. Because if you're on round 6, then you have plus 3 shift points along with your normal shift points, which you start at 2. So that's a minimum of 5. You're going to be landing most of your strikes at that point. So enemies have a kind of so they don't do exact strikes. Enemies are not enemies don't do exact strikes like I talked about earlier. That's a player only thing. Instead, they have their own versions of like critical misses and critical hits. Critical misses are mishap attack rolls, and critical strikes are called primal attack rolls. Hold on, let me do something real fast. I don't know why this just popped up. Okay. I think I said ads were going. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, monetization got like added on my channel, and I'm still trying to figure out all the settings and stuff. So I think I clicked something where it's like doing mid-roll like ads just in the middle of the stream, which I apologize. I thought I disabled those, but I guess I didn't. My bad. Okay, hopefully that fixed that. So yeah, their versions of critical strikes and critical misses are mishap attacks and primal attacks. And essentially, if they roll double 1s, they do a mishap. Double 6, they do a primal attack, which is just some either really bad or really good thing. And that's that. So then the final little bit of combat is armor deflection. So you can get armor in this game, and how it works is armor will have 1 of 2 dice values to it. And depending on what dice value it has, if it matches up with a maneuver used against you, then you can deflect some damage or like minimize some damage. So here's some examples. Like there's this jerkin that has the 4 dice. So that acts as a primary 4. So anytime an enemy attacks you with a maneuver where the primary dice is a 4, you'd be able to subtract some damage from whatever you take. And that's kind of how armor works. It either has 1 or 2 numbers, and then we'll have some like minus a number of damage. So the shield does minus 2 damage on a 6 primary or a 5 secondary. You can only choose 1 piece of armor per round to use. And yeah, if you reach combat round 7 onwards, then any interrupts stats that involve movement or moving an item no longer count. Then the last couple things for combat. If there's multiple creatures, you essentially just get to choose the order that they attack you. Throwing weapons, you can throw weapons. They are indicated if you can throw them or not. Axes do 6 damage, knives do 4, darts do 2 damage. You can recover your throwing weapons sometimes. So if the throwing weapon was deflected, it is lost automatically if you threw it without it being deflected, and survive the combat. You roll a d6 to see if you find it. There's this thing called fearful momentum, which means if you're fighting multiple enemies and kill an enemy on the first round, you gain momentum from that because it strikes fear into your opponent. So essentially on the next round of combat, you gain +2 shift, which is a pretty cool little thing. Winning the combat, you win when the enemy is defeated. And also there's this little paragraph, which I think is kind of funny, called too powerful. So if your armor completely cancels out the foe's attack damage so that your enemy cannot harm you, then there is no need to roll for combat. You are too powerful for them and you instantly kill them, which I imagine is probably pretty tough to get to, but it makes a note of it in here, so it must happen pretty often. More crafting you can do is create stuff called potion bombs, which kind of like what it sounds like. They're potions, but they're explosive and you throw them. And yeah, there's different ingredients for them. They have different effects. It's a pretty cool thing you can do. I really like that you can craft stuff in this game. I think that is a very neat aspect and something that I enjoy, crafting systems in games. So maybe I'm a bit of a sucker for that, but yeah. Let me do what is going on. Okay. Hydrate. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. I don't know where my Nightbot is. They should be sending me reminders. I'll have to maybe pull that up or something. I had it working last stream and then I didn't do anything and now it's just not working, which is fun. Whatever though. So creature cards. Each creature card looks a little something like this, all zoomed in. So they have a name, a level, HP, XP, their shift value, treasure you get for killing them, their interrupt stats, their maneuvers they have, a bit of a description about them, their mishap attack, and their prime attack roll. Kind of went over most of that, so I'm not going to touch on it too much more. There's a good bit about magic in this game, so you can get scrolls. They are hard to use. You basically have to roll doubles to use a scroll. There's potions you can use. You can drink those. Power of the gods. So I talked about favor points earlier, and what can you do with those favor points? Well, you can call in a favor. And how this works is you roll a d6 and you have to roll less than or equal to whatever your favor, how many favor points you have. So with the Grokada, the core, if I have 3 favor points, I would have to roll a d6 and roll 3, 2, or 1. If I'm able to do that, then I could choose one favoring of the following. I can either heal HP back to my baseline, explode an enemy of a level equal to or below mine, gain 1 discipline or 1 precision for a dungeon level, acquire an object for a task, find a working lever to open all portcullises, fix an item, remove the bloodied status, +3 shift on your next, +3 on your next loot roll, or +3 shift on your next attack roll. Lots of cool favor options. There are some special favored items. This gets you more points. Or we kind of talked about there's a bloodied status where you're just kind of bloodied, and that's just like a thing. You can get it from a number of reasons, but essentially it's kind of like what it sounds like. You're just bloodied. You'd have to, where it is hard to simply rub off, and you must be removed with water. You can do this automatically if water is present. Until then, you must tick the box bloodied track on your character. If you're bloodied for a while, you run the risk of becoming infected and getting a fever. So if you're encountering 8 rooms, after encountering 8 rooms, you gain a fever and start losing HP. There's also the soaked attribute, which you can get. So if you're just in water, you become soaked. And after 8 rooms of that, you gain a fever, you gain pneumonia, and start losing HP every room after. You lose the soaked if you're just trying yourself by a fire. So lower levels of the dungeon become more tough. They'll have more maneuvers, more shift points, stuff like that. What else? There's ways to increase the level of the difficulty, which I'm not going to do because I have not made it far in this game to begin with. Leaving the dungeon. So I kind of talked about this earlier. You can leave the dungeon at any time on any level. Heading back through the main entrance of the dungeon is not an option, as it may alert the residents of your presence. So you have to find a ventilation shaft hidden in the dungeon to serve as an escape route to the surface. To leave, you must be in a room that abuts the outer boundary of the level, and you must encounter the room before you can begin your search. You roll a d6 for each square adjoining to the dungeon edge, and if you roll a 6, you found an exit shaft. You draw that in, and that's where you can leave. It's virtually invisible on the surface, but you mark it when you head into town. You can only do this once per level, and then essentially when you come back into the dungeon, you come back in through that secret exit, and when you come back through it, it collapses, so you can't use it more than once. There's options for when you go back into town. So throughout the dungeon, you might find prisoners, and you might be able to liberate them. And if you do, there's a little spot on your character sheet to mark how many prisoners you've liberated. And next time you go back into town, you get to see if there's any updates on the prisoners, which I haven't gotten to that, but it seems like a pretty cool little part. Stuff to do in town. You can go to the market to buy and sell items. There's an engraver for runes. There's an herbalist to buy herbs. You can buy rations. In the evening, you kind of have one or two options. You can go to the tavern, or you can go to a temple to meditate. There's also a town hall you could do an arm wrestling contest, and legendary rewards, and that's it. That's the rules. So now I kind of got through all of that in a bit more time than I wanted. I'll finish creating my character, and then we'll get started. So I already picked out my name, Marbash. I start at level 1, have 10 health, 0 XP, start with +2 shift, +1 discipline, 0 precision. My weapon is a great axe, so now I need to choose my starting maneuvers. So let me head to the Tables Codex, great axe, and essentially, hopefully you can kind of see, there's different level maneuvers, so I'm only choosing from level 1 maneuvers. I want to do some cool ones, so I'll do something like, I have a great axe. I'll take direct jab. That sounds like a good one to have. And essentially for direct jab, that needs a 2 and a 3 dice to pull off, and that will do d6 +1 damage. For my other one, I might do I kind of want the secondary dice to be a little bit higher, but not too high. Well, maybe I'll go with Carve, which is d6 -1 damage. So that is Carve is a 4 and a 3. I don't know if I actually want that. Maybe not. I changed my mind already. Hold on. Because I don't want the same secondary dice. I want that to be a little bit different, just so I have options. I guess I'll go for a little bit lower of an option. I'll go for the low swish, which is a 5 and a 2 dice, and that does also d6 +1 damage. So I'm going a little bit for the high damage ones, which are also a bit harder to pull off. Next, I gotta hop back to the main PDF and choose my starting armor. So there are a couple of starting armor options. I get to pick one. I'm gonna go with probably the quilted coat. Let me write that in. Quilted coat, which gives me that activates on a 3 dice, a primary 3 dice, and that will just do -1 damage. So anytime I get attacked with a maneuver that uses a 3 as the primary dice, I can subtract 1 damage from it. I also start with some items. So I start with flint and steel, a lantern, 3 rations, a pouch, a wax sealing kit, and a large backpack. So let me write those in real fast. Flint plus steel. What's that? Lantern. Rations 3. Large backpack, along with a pouch, which could be used to store kind of anything. And then a wax sealing kit as well. That's specifically for, I think, making potion bombs. Because you have to like make the potion and then you essentially seal it with a magical wax that then pressurizes it, so when you throw it, it explodes. So that's done. I also get 1 scroll of choice, which I'm going to go with the scroll of mental whip, which just lets me do 10 damage, essentially, if I'm able to actually activate it. So scroll of mental whip, which orbit doesn't matter, dispel damage doesn't matter, and it just does 1 strike of 10 damage. I also start with a potion of healing, so I'll mark that down in my potion section. Real fast here, and that just gives me plus 10 HP, which is always nice to have. I already did level 1 and 0 on my XP. I think that's it for character creation. Yeah. Cool. Yay, the world is right. Almost an hour for rules. That's right. Almost an hour for rules and characters. You never should have pointed out that I probably wouldn't have bothered you about it every time in live chat. No, I mean, honestly, I'm fine that you point that out. And it's something I'm pretty conscious about, because I know sometimes I can go on and on, but it's also like, I don't know, there's got to be, in my eyes, there's got to be a balance between, I don't want to just jump right into a game if nobody knows what's going on, but I don't want to sit here for half the stream talking about rules. But maybe, I mean, you know what, I don't, you know, people probably want to mix of both. I know I would, so, but just finding that balance is what I sometimes struggle with, because like, I don't want to leave rules out, but I don't want to sit here talking all day, and I just want to get to playing, which I think we're ready for at this point. We're ready to start playing. Start generating this dungeon and seeing what we can find. I'll grab a quick sip of water and we'll hop into this. All right, so we are entering level 1 of this dungeon, which I'll maybe mark up here with a 1, even though I know it's level 1. And first things first is we got to generate the entrance room, which does generate a little bit different than other ones. It's always going to be 6 to 12 squares. It's always going to have 3 exits. All the exits are going to be archways. So let me roll up and see what this is going to be. So I got a 4x6. So I'll maybe just make that 4x3 instead. So we'll maybe have it go like that. And then 4x3, so let me put 1 exit there. One exit there, and then the other one also in the center off to the left. And this is room, how I've been playing is I like marking the room number down just so I can keep track of it on this other piece of paper for like combat and whatnot, which I better start so I don't forget. Which the entrance room is by default the only room that you also don't roll any encounters for. It's empty by design. So we're already done with the entrance room, and we can get on to room number 2, which I'm going to go to the left and see what's going on there. So first we roll up the room size, which is a 2x2 room. And I also normally roll this dice also to see how many exits it has. And this has 2 exits. Okay. So this small 2x2 room has 2 exits. So I might have 1 exit going up, 1 going to the left. Something like that. I like how room number 2 is a 2x2 room. Feels pretty appropriate. Okay, so now we get to roll up our first table to see, or we get to roll up our first room. So I gotta go, we're doing a lot of this back and forth between these 2 PDFs. Hopefully I'll mainly stay on this one though. So we do the human ancestry roll. Well, actually, this is a small room, so I take that back. We do the small room roll. Okay. So this is just a 2d6 roll, which gives me a 6 total, which is a Meduva statue. And so you can see here, Meduva statue, it gives you a description, and then also this is a unique room. So let me write that down. Meduva is one of the subterranean gods in this game. So it's Meduva statue, and also what I've been doing is just putting like a little star next to rooms that are unique, so I know if I roll them up again, just to skip over them as they've already been generated. So Meduva statue says there is a rough statue of Meduva here. Its form is twisted sinew. You can call for its favor here, -2 to the roll. There's no space to make offerings. Okay, well that's kind of useless then. I don't have any favor with you, so a -2 would be no good. So I'm gonna really small write in also what the room is there. I know this is probably kind of hard to see. When I went to my computer, I had like the different scenes where I can like zoom in a bit more on my OBS here and show stuff a little bit more. And I forgot to set those up before stream. I'm gonna do that before next week. But yeah, you'll have to kind of just deal with this little bit of an overview. I'll try my best to describe what's going on along the way. So there's no exit types for small rooms, so I assume just it's an archway exit. So I'm gonna go to the left and see what's to the left of this room. So it's a 3x5 room with 1 exit. So it's 3 width by 5. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we'll just do the exit right on the other side. Kind of like that. 3x5. Yeah, I like that. And that's just going to be a normal room roll. So let's see what we get for first. Normal room is a 3 and a 5, which on this, that's a level 2 room. I was like, that's weird. A 3 and a 5, empty space. Yes, this is exciting dungeon diving. Empty space. Let's go. Love to see that. And is that unique? I can't imagine it is. No. The room has been left empty. The floors are swept clean and the walls are washed. The space is silent. There is nobody here. The exits are archways. So we're just going to continue on. This has been a very uneventful first few rooms. I'm kind of scared what's in the next couple rooms. So I'm going to keep continuing left and see what's kind of in the corner here. And this is a 3x6 room. So once again, I'm going to have it kind of go butt up against the outer boundary. 3x6. So, and how many exits it has? 1 exit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'll add 1 more for the exit. And that's room number 4. Also, one thing the game recommends doing, which I kind of do like doing, is shading in these like wall areas that definitely aren't going to be rooms, just to make it a little bit easier to see. So I'll quickly do that just to give a little bit more visual appeal. I don't know, make it a little bit easier to see, hopefully, maybe. Okay, so room number 4. Let's see what's going on in here. Hopefully something that's not another empty space or a barren room. A 2 and a 4 is a washroom. Okay, here we go. This is where it gets crazy. So washroom is, let me see if this is unique. It is, so I'll make a little star next to that. A washroom also, I keep losing it, has a random exit type, so we'll worry about that later. I'm gonna roll up the exit type later because I want to do the actual other stuff first. So the washroom says there's a basin set in worktops here and a buckets of soapy water. It is damp. Roll a d6. Okay, let me just do it first before I see what happens. Roll a d6. On a 1 to a 3, a fungal creature emerges. Roll on L1F. So then I go on up to L1F, which is the level 1 fungus table, and roll on that because I guess with all this damp water, a fungus creature emerges, and it is a slimy gorger. So let me find the card, and we're going to be entering our first bit of combat. So we fight this slimy gorger fungus-looking dude here. Which says it has it's a dark green slime animated by primordial magic that lives in wet and cold abandoned spaces. It can rear up and attack with its stretchy gelatinous body. It has, so let me write down here, slimy gorger, and it has 10 HP and it's worth 16 XP. Okay. Let's see if I can take it down. So round 1, I go first. I'm gonna swap out my map for my character sheet because that's kind of what I need more right now. So I'm trying to either pull off my direct jab or my low swish. And a 4 and a 6 is my first roll. Not good. A high secondary dice is not good. I have 2 shift abilities, but I'm not gonna be able to shift to any of my maneuvers. So that's a miss on my first attack. It's okay though. Now to the slimy gorger. It's going to try to do its maneuver, which is a sticky suction, which it needs a 4 and a 3 for. It rolled a 4 and a 6, but it only has 1 shift. So that is a miss for it as well, as it tries to grab at me with its tentacles, and I kind of just dodge out of the way. Why is this? Skip that. Skip that. Okay. So then we're on to round 2. Round 2, back to me. Let's see if I can attack it or not. And that's a 2 and a 2, which is good because I can use one of my shifts to bump that up to a 3. A 2 and a 3 lets me use my direct jab ability. So I finally managed to land a hit on the slimy gorger. Yeah, and its interruptibility is only on secondary 2s and 6s, which this is a primary 2, so I'm chilling there. So it's not going to deduct any damage. So I can just roll my d6 and add 1, and I just dropped that. And that's a 6. So that's 7 damage total, bringing it down to 3 health. Not bad at all. Back to its turn. Let's see if it can suction me. And, oh, it did. It got an exact strike, but that's not like a thing for creatures. So it's doing d6 minus 1 damage and a special attack. You may not use 1 random piece of armor this turn. Okay. So it's going to do damage, and then I can't use my quilted coat this turn. Oh, it's doing 5 damage. That's half my health. It rolled max damage. As it does its sticky suction and grabs my quilted coat from me, so I can no longer use that. It's back to me. Let's see if I can land 1 more maneuver and finish this thing off. So that is a 3 and a 2. Luckily, I can shift this 3 down to a 2 and this 2 up to a 3 and do my direct jab, which I might not finish it off, but I do. That's exactly 3 damage, which is what I needed to kill the thing. So it is dead. First combat done. I get 16 experience from that, so I'll go ahead and put that in. I need 100 to level up, so it's still a ways away, but hey, that was our first enemy, so it's going to take some time. And then also there's treasure on this, so sticky glue like substance is what I have, but I need a container. I might use my pouch for that. I might be able to put some sticky glue in a pouch. I think that's probably okay. So I'll just kind of write underneath it that that I have sticky glue in there. And I think that's pretty much it for this slimy gorger. So let me swap some. Let me write down this is the washroom. And then also let me hop back to the table because I think there was stuff I can do afterwards. So washroom, yeah, if you survive, I can roll on the TAT1 table, which is, I think that's the T table. Or just the table. Yeah, that's just a table. So it's a 2d6 roll. That is a 9 total, which means there is parchment here with some writing you cannot read. Okay, well, doesn't do me too much good at the moment, but I'll still write it down. I don't know if there's anything I can actually like do with that, but hey, you know, it might come in handy later. And we've defeated this fungus in the washroom. So now this room has random exit types, which is a separate table to roll on for level 1. So I got to go to level 1, exit type table, roll 66, or a D66, I guess. That's a 1 and a 3, which means they have metal doors in here. Of course they do. Which is drawn in as a little like rectangle that's shaded in. And now I got to see if these doors are actually locked. So I roll a D6 and it is locked. Shoot, that kind of sucks. So then I believe I have to roll 2d6 for the lock level, and it is a level 5 lock. And currently I don't have lock picks, so that's kind of a dead end for me, and I got to turn around. So I'm gonna go back through the empty space, back through the Meduva statue in room 2, and I'm gonna head north and see what's above that room. So let me roll up a new room and we'll see what's going on there. And this is a corridor because it's just 1 wide, 6 long, and 4 for the exits means there's 2 exits. This is kind of a long corridor. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw one of the exits there. 5, 6. And exits and corridors are always archways, so I don't have to worry about exit types or, I don't know, room types. A corridor is just a corridor, and that's it. So let's see what's to the left here. I guess I'll roll all 3 of these. And it's a 6x2 room. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That almost butts up against that one. There's really no other way to do that. I guess I could put it up a little bit higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 2. And with a 3 means there are just there's one other exit. So maybe I'll put that kind of towards this side here. Like right there is the exit. And we'll close this up like that. Cool. So then this is room number 5. And I'll write this down and then we'll see what type of room this is. That was what, a 2x6, that's 12, but that's not a small room. Small room's only 6. So we roll a normal room type, level 1. We get a 4 and a 5, which means the room is a storage area. This is not a unique area. So let me write this down, storage area. And storage area has archways as the exits, so I keep exits as is. The description reads, empty boxes and tea chests fill the space. There are also sacks and bags. So I roll a D4, or sorry, a D6. I rolled a 6. It says on 1 to 4, a random patrol comes by and you roll yada yada. If you survive, roll on BT1. Well, I did survive, but there was no patrol to survive against. So do I still roll on BT1? I'm going to say yes, but I don't know for sure. I don't know if I'd only get BT1 if, I don't even know what BT stands for. Bags and tables. Bag table. Okay. BT1 is the bag table. So I'm learning something new every day. So a 3 means inside the leather bag are a few scraps of metal and 2 lumps of coal. Great. See, this is another. So I do have some minor complaints about this game. Some of the rules are a little confusing. It also, like, in this case, there are a few scraps of metal and 2 clumps of coal. I don't like that sometimes for the loot, it says, like, there's a few of this item, or there's some of this, or there's a couple of this. Just, I wish it would give me an exact number or a dice to roll. I don't like the vague terms. I don't know if a few scraps of metal is just one quantity of scrap. Like, I don't I don't know, and I don't like that it is, because it specifies right after 2 lumps of coal. So why can't you specify how many scraps of metal I find? I find that very odd. I don't know why they do that. Maybe that's just me being like looking a bit too much into the meaning of it, but like I don't like how many scraps of metals do I have? A few. What? I need a number, you know? So I'm gonna just go with 3. If it was 2, if it said a couple, I'd write 2. Few is probably 3. Some is maybe 4. I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't know. So I'm just gonna write scrap metal. And we'll write, what did I say, 3? Yeah. And then lump of coal, and we'll write 2 for that. Okay, so there was some stuff in the storage area. No enemies to worry about, so we can kind of just continue north to see what lies ahead. So let me go ahead and pull up the table. I guess we might not need that exact table. Where's my other dice? Am I dumb? It's hiding from me. Next room is a 6x4 sized room. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'll also just kind of put this. I'll put it like right above. So 6x4, and then how many exits it has? 1 exit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, maybe I'll put the exit kind of in the same location. You can randomly roll for exits if you want. I am choosing not to. I'm just placing the exits wherever kind of makes sense for me. But you can randomize. There's a way you can roll to randomize what wall they're on, and then you can roll again to see where on the wall they are. But I've just been picking myself. So yeah. So room number 6. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe something exciting. Maybe another combat encounter. We've only had 1, even though it was kind of tough. It did take out half my HP in 1 hit. But you know, it's only been 1 encounter so far. So let's see what's in this room. And that is a 1 and a 4, which is a mason's workshop, a unique room, which we have not encountered yet. So let me jot that down real fast, and then we'll see what's going on in there. Imagine some fun stuff. Maybe some person named Mason is in there. So Mason's workshop has random exits, so I'll roll on that after. It says large blocks of stone scatter the space, iron tools and an old hammer lie around. Roll a d6. Let's see what happens. Let me roll it first. On a 1 to a 4, an artisan is here. You must fight them. If you survive, roll on TCT1. So I will be fighting an artisan. I presume that's Mason. It's his workshop. So let me write this down. Artisan, and we're gonna be entering into some more combat. Where is Artisan? I imagine I was gonna say they should be towards the top. So a little card for them. They have 3 HP, 5. They're worth 5 XP. A lot easier than Fungus I took down. It says a skilled worker who has spent many years learning their art. They are not a fighter, but are well coordinated and wear sturdy leather work clothes. They will defend their home. Their main attack is a jab, and they have a couple of interrupt skills. They interrupt on a secondary 1, which I don't have, right? And then they also interrupt on a secondary 6, which I don't have. So none of their interrupts will matter to me. First round of combat, let's see what I can do. I rolled a 3 and a 5, which is nowhere close to what I need. So that's just going to be a complete miss. I can't shift that around to benefit me. Let's see what the artisan's doing. They need, I can't even see this. They need a 5 and a 4 to do their jab. They have a 1 shift, so they cannot get to that. Round 2, back to me. Let's see if I can pull off one of my cool maneuvers. A 3 and a 4. Yeah, because I can shift my 3 down to a 2, and then my 4 down to a 3 with my 2 shift points. That gets me a 2 and a 3, which allows me to pull off my direct jab with my great axe. So now I can roll a d6, add 1, and dang, that is only 2 damage. They only have 3 health, so they're still alive by just 1 point of health. Back to them. Let's see if they're gonna jab me or not. They do not, and we're on to round 3. Let's see if I can finish them off. I rolled a 2 and a 1. which I can actually shift this one up to a 3. And that pulls off another direct jab. This time they're dead. That's a 6. That's max damage, 7 damage. This Mason dude is dead. So first, let me gain some XP. I gained 5, bringing me up to 21 out of 100. So not terrible. Would prefer to have a little bit more, but you know what? We haven't had that much combat. Now I get to roll for their treasure first on the pouch table -2. So let me go ahead and go up to the treasure roll tables, to the pouch table. I think I went by. Where the heck is the... Oh, there's the loot tables. Pouch table 1, -2. So that is 5. There are dried pumpkin seeds in the pouch. But once again, my minor complaint, there are some dried pumpkin seeds. How many does that imply? Does some imply one quantity? Is that multiple pumpkin seeds? I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna say some is 3? I don't know. I really wish they'd either give me an exact number or give me a dice to roll or something. I don't like this, them saying some or few or a couple. It's very vague. I don't like it. But apparently also in this guy's treasure pouch, they have 2d6 silver. So I get 9 silver, finally getting a little bit of money. That was it for that. I still have, there's some extra loot I get to roll for in the room, which I already forget what it is. So I need to go back to that. Mason's Workshop. If I roll on TCT1. So I go back to the loot tables. TCT1 is, I keep going by the loot tables. TCT1. That's the T chest table. Oops. Let's see what I find in their tea chest. 9. Some rubbish has been thrown into the box. In it, you find some leather cord and some black feathers. See, it's just like, why? Just keep saying some. Like, give me a number. Like, and in other spots, they give you numbers to roll, so I don't know why they do this. So is that 9? This is leather cord, black feathers. Let me write this down. Would they say some? Maybe I'll just go with 3 again. Like, I don't... If it said a couple, I would go with 2. A few... If it's... Yeah, maybe that's how I'll do it. If it's like a few or some, I'll put 3. If it's a couple, I'll put 2. I think that makes sense. Hello there, Alex. I generally do 2d6 divided by 2 rounded down for some. Oh. I kind of like that idea. Maybe I'll have to try that, because... Like I said, in a lot of these cases, it will give me a number to roll for. So I don't, and like earlier, it specified like how many lumps of coal I found. So I don't know why for some stuff it doesn't. And that's, I don't know. I think that's just a me thing, but it kind of bothers me. So I don't know. I like having exact numbers for stuff, especially when it kind of matters. Like, you know, these pumpkin seeds, they can be used to make rations. So do I just have one? Do I have multiple? And I assume like if I have... But also, like, I don't know how it works, like, with pumpkin seeds. Like, I imagine one thing of pumpkin seeds isn't just a single seed. Like, it's a quantity of seed. Once again, I don't really know how they do this, so that's just kind of on me. But okay. Let me go back to the map real fast. Let me write this was the Mason's Workshop. And let's keep going north to see what's north of this. Whoops, I'm just throwing dice at this point. Come on, big roll. No, that is a corridor. Okay. There's a corridor going left and right that is 3 squares in length, and it has 1 exit. So maybe I'll just have it go to the right, I guess. I don't want to have it go to the left. And the exit, I assume, is just, I'm going to make it the little end part here, because I don't know what else to do. So we'll leave it as that, and onwards and upwards to the next actual room. Maybe. I don't know. There we go. A 4x2 room. So, Maybe I'll just go down and it's just one exit. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll have the exit just be like above here. This is room number 7. Let me write down this on my little scrap piece of paper. This is 8 squares, so it's barely not a small room. So we can go down to the normal rooms and see what type of room it is. A 2 and a 1 gives us a blacksmith's, which is a unique room. Cool. This must be like the working area. It's got like the storage area next to the mason's workshop, next to the blacksmith's. That's pretty cool. Let me write that in there, just kind of small, just so I remember what's there. Let me color in this little area that's just like empty space. Like this is also going to be some empty space. This is also just going to be empty space. Probably all of this will also be empty space, but I don't know for sure. That space is definitely nothing. Okay, so what was this? The blacksmith is going to have wooden doors, so I can already write that in for this area. And what else we got going on in the blacksmith? So there is an anvil on a block, a glowing furnace, and walls lined with worn tools. And there is someone here. You must fight the blacksmith. If you survive, I get to roll an MIT1. So let me go ahead and write blacksmith, and I guess I'm fighting them. Let's see what their stat block looks like. Oh, there it is. I flipped right to their card. So they have 6 HP worth 7 XP. It says a hardy artisan wearing a heavy leather apron used to hammering metal, so they are strong and resilient. And their main maneuver is a hammer blow, and their interrupts is their crossed arms, which is on secondary 3s and 6s. Grab my character sheet and let's get into some combat. So they only have 6 health, so they're not too strong. And we have 1 shift point, and they have on secondary 2s, on 6s and 3s. So I need to try to avoid doing my direct jab if possible, because when I do, they're gonna block that partially. So they're always gonna use their interrupt to reduce the damage. So let's see what I can do. First round, let's roll up my dice. That's double 6s. Unfortunately, that's not actually that good for me. I mean, I could shift this down to a 5, but then I would still need this to be a 2 for my low swish, so that is a miss for me. Let's see if they're able to pull off their attack. To do their hammer blow attack, need a 4 and a 3. They roll a 1 and a 6, so not even close. On to round 2. Let's see if I can pull off one of my maneuvers. A 1 and a 4. I can shift my 1 up to a 2 and my 4 down to a 3, where the heck the 3 is, and do my direct jab attack, which unfortunately they are going to be able to interrupt with their crossed arms, which they're going to do -2 damage. So normally I'd roll a d6 and add 1. Now I'm going to roll a d6 and subtract 1, which is 3 minus 2, or 3 minus 1 is just 2 damage. So brings them down to 4 health. Not bad. At least I got 1 attack in. Wasn't the one I preferred, but it's still damage. Let's see if they're going to attack me with their hammer. They need a 4 and a 3. They only have 1 shift point, so no. They were pretty close. If they had another shift point, they would have. It's back to me, though. Let's see if I can strike them with my maneuver. A 4 and a 6. No, that's no good. My secondary dice cannot be high like that. Back to them. What are they doing? They need a 4 and a 3. They swing and a miss. So now we're on to round 4. And this is the first time for combat we've gotten to round 4. So now we get shift adjustments. So now instead of 2 shift points, I get 3, but they also get an extra 1. So it goes both ways, but I get to attack first. And I got a 5 and a 2, which is my low swish. I rolled that directly, which means that's an exact strike, which means instead of it being a d6 plus 1, I add all my shift values. So that's a d6 plus 3. They're dead. They only have 4 health. They're dead. Even though I rolled minimum damage, that's 4 damage. They're dead. That's awesome. I just exact striked them, did a low swish. He tried to attack me with his hammer. I saw an opportunity, swung, and I got him. The ones that say some or few, I think, are just basically one portion. Okay. See, and yeah, that's what I was confused about too, because I was like, I know, like, if you're to say, like, trying to sell pumpkin seeds to somebody, like, you probably wouldn't sell just one seed at a time. You'd sell, like, some, like, one quantity of seeds. So yeah, I could see that being the case as well, and maybe I should play it that way, but because I mean it does specify for other stuff, so, but yeah, I don't know, but it only does that for smaller items, so I think you're probably right, but I don't know. I wish they just would have specified. Okay, let's not do that. Yeah, okay. So maybe I will just play it that way. I don't know, but I also like what Alex said earlier about just doing like 2d6 divided by 2, rounded down. I find page 19 of the rule book on inventive usage or whatever else to allow for enough wiggle room to use the environment and others to make as much sense to the context. I'm confused by what you mean there. Find to allow for enough wiggle room to use the environment and other things for the context. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. Allow for enough wiggle room to use the environment and other things to make to the context. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean there. Yeah, the inventive uses you can kind of do a lot with, but I don't know how that comes into play with that. But combat's over. This blacksmith is dead, and I'm going to go ahead and collect my XP, bringing me up to 30. We are 1/3 the way of getting to level 2. Which, that'd be nice. If I could at least hit level 2 character-wise, not even dungeon-wise, that'd be cool. If I could hit level 2 XP and level 2 dungeon, then that would be good. Interpret things as it makes sense, basically. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because it does seem like those rules allow you to kind of do, yeah, there's definitely, yeah, a bit of like, not ambiguity, but yeah, you can kind of do whatever with some of those rules. So yeah, I'll just kind of have to play it by ear, see what I see. I might just keep doing it though. I want to try your way though, of doing like, for like, at least when you pick up items, maybe doing 2d6 divided by 2. But yeah, I don't know. Probably doesn't matter too much, but if it did, maybe they would have specified. No, I'm just joking though. Let's get some loot. So, oh man, this guy has a lot of loot. So, because the treasure on the blacksmith isn't, I get to basically do 2 MIT1 rolls, which I don't know what that means. What the heck is an MIT roll? I know that's some loot table, but I don't know which one. I don't think I've encountered that yet. Is that not a loot table? What's MIT? Am I dumb? I'm not seeing it. Oh, it's not. Oh, it's a magical item table. Whoa, okay. Which magical table? Where? Hold on. MIT is magical item table, and I get to roll twice on it? Are you kidding me? So I get bracers of blocking and explosive marble? Oh. That's kind of cool. I don't know what either do, but I like the sounds of both. Especially explosive marble. That sounds awesome. Are these specified anywhere what these do? I don't know. I don't know what either of those do. Where would that even be? Magic items table. Oh, okay, here we go. Braces of blocking. One piece of armor you wear is enhanced with an extra -1 damage modifier. Worth 150 gold. Explosive marbles. Small glass balls that explode when rolled into a room, doing 2d6 plus 3 damage. I have 1 charge. Interesting. Oh, 1d6. Okay. And then it's like in a pouch. Yeah, I'll have to try that. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, if you're finding like stuff that needs to be in a pouch, that you find it in a pouch. Yeah. Okay. Okay, these are cool. So if I wear this bracers of blocking, it enhances my quilted coat to block more damage. That's pretty neat. Okay. And then I have explosive marbles, which I can throw into a room and do some damage. That's pretty neat. Okay. And then I also get to roll in the PT1 table, which I think is just the pouch table. So let's see what this is. Blacksmith had a lot of stuff. They had a magic item on them. They had magic items in their blacksmith. And they also, they had a pouch that was empty. But hey, that's an extra pouch. I will take an extra pouch because I can store some maybe cool stuff in there. All right, blacksmith has been defeated. I think armor doesn't stack. What do you mean by that? Because I know you can't have multiple pieces of the same armor, but at least this says this was like magical bracers that said it enhances another piece of armor. So unless I'm reading that wrong, I assumed it just meant I could put that on and then that benefits my quilted coat to block more damage. That's at least how I was interpreting that. But that item is new to me, so maybe I'm reading it wrong. But yeah, I know you can't have multiple of like the same type of armor. And then normally in combat, you can only choose one to block with at a time. But I think that's how it works. Let me know if I'm reading that completely wrong. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not reading that wrong. Okay. Blacksmith has been defeated. Blacksmith room is done. There is a wooden door to the north. Let's roll to see if it's locked. Please don't be a 6. It's a 1. Thank goodness the door's unlocked, so we can go to the next room. Let's see what's in the next room. It's a big room. It's a 6x3 room. Well, not like an actual like large room, but it's bigger. So we go 3, 4, 5, and 6 by 3, and it has 2 exits. Sweet. So we'll do 1 off to the left and maybe 1 off to the right. Something like that. And this is room number 8. We are just flying along through this dungeon. And so far I'm doing okay on health. I wish I had more healing items. I still only have 1 potion of healing, which can heal me for 10 HP, but I don't want to use it yet. Let's see what's in this new number 8 room. And it's a 3 and a 2, which means it's a weapon dump. Ooh, is this a unique room? It sounds like it is, yes. Weapon dump is a unique room. I'll put a little star next to this for being a unique room. And the weapon dump says, some crates and barrels hold a range of broken and busted weapons. Also, I'll quickly note that this does have wooden doors, so let me draw that in before I forget. And then I begin to search the place. Roll first on IAUT1 and then on MIT2. So let me like jot this down. IAUT1 plus MIT2. These acronyms, it's kind of crazy sometimes. I know the IAUT is like the interrupt and the unexpected table. That's what it stands for. Okay, so let's see what stuff happens as we're searching through the crates. We get 1 and 4, which reads, you cross the room but stagger as the floor falls away from beneath you. You grab the ledge. So I need to roll 2d6 and add my precision. On a 7 or higher, you climb, hold, and you grab, hold, and climb free. On a 6 or lower, you fall. in and lose 3 health points and then fall out or climb out. So my precision is 0. So I need to roll 2d6 and they need to add up to a 7 or higher. And that's a 7. So we're good there. As I'm searching around the room in this weapon dump, the floor falls away and I almost fall in. But luck was on my side and I was able to grab a hold and climb out. And now I can search on the MIT2 table, which means, what was that? That's the note. That's more magic items, right? MIT2. Wait, MIT2. Where's MIT2? Am I dumb? Oh, it's not magic items, it's metal items. Oops. That makes more sense. The blacksmith wouldn't have magic items, they'd have metal items. Now I gotta get rid of my cool new magic items. That sucks. But that also makes sense. I mean, it makes more sense for a blacksmith to have metal items than magic items. But I lose my explosive marble and my cool new bracers. Oh well. Isn't MIT? Yeah, I misread that earlier. MIT is metal stuff. I saw the magic items table, which is the MI table. So I was like, oh, MIT, but no, it's metal items table. That's so confusing. Let me roll first for this room, and then I'll re-roll for the blacksmith. So this means I only roll 1d6. I get a metal chain. Okay. And then I rolled twice on MIT1 for the blacksmith. And they had a forged blade. They had 2 forged blades. Okay. Well, man, I would have preferred the magic items, but I guess if I gotta play like I'm supposed to, then I think that makes sense. Did the same when you did it the first time. There's so many different acronyms. It's kind of confusing. There's so many tables in this book. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so that was that. So let's real quick see if any of the doors are locked. They're just wooden doors, so probably not. Yeah, they're not. So let's go to the left and see what's going on there. Come on, big roll. That's a 4x4. All right. So we'll go down a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's 1 exit. So we'll go the exit. We'll squeeze it like right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is great. And this will be room number 9. It has 1 exit, and that is that. I find 2d6 open enough to allow for some plugging in something like a mythic to look for additional stuff in inventive usage whenever. The whole idea is to have fun. That's true. Yeah, no, I think this would work pretty well with something like mythic. I don't know, because I guess maybe if you're just doing like dungeon focused stuff, but like, because it's 2d6 dungeon, but I mean, I feel like with mythic, I'd want to do stuff like with other characters and like do stuff outside the dungeon more, which I guess could add more to like the whole going to town aspect when you go back to the town and visit with all the people and visit other stuff. Yeah, that's like the one thing I do feel with these types of games is it does feel a little, I don't know, there's not as much there as like a normal RPG, which is it's just a dungeon diving game. It's not an RPG, but it kind of is, and I don't know. But I can see how mythic could definitely add to that. And that's maybe something I'll have to try, but I'm still trying to like familiarize myself with the rules and get past level 1 alive. That's kind of my goal right now. Complaining about the tables, you hit something I fear about the system. That's more of a tool, but it is too granular of a game. Not necessarily. I mean, a tool, Nah, I wouldn't say that much. It's just, I don't know. I don't think this calls itself an RPG anywhere in the book. And I would say, I mean, it really doesn't. You are playing a character, you're making choices for your character, which I think in the most, strict sense is an RPG, but it doesn't, it's just, you're just doing dungeon stuff, and there's a little bit outside the dungeon rules, but yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of cool tables, lots of tables for lots of different stuff. I mean, these are all the different tables for all the different levels. Like there's a bunch of generic tables, there's loot tables, there's miscellaneous tables, there's lots of tables, which I think is cool. If you like random tables, this, even if you don't play the game, there's lots of good tables here. But yeah, I don't know if I'd say that, but that's what the realm expansion will do. Oh, the realm expansion. Is there, I thought I saw something about, yeah, I know there's going to be more expansions for this game. I just didn't know if there's already some out. So is that one that just announced, or is that actually out? Yeah, let me fill this in real fast. Let me color this in. There's just empty space, and then we can see what's going on in room number 9. Hopefully nothing too crazy. This could be a regular sized room of 4 and 5 gives us, is this something we already had? A storage area. We did have a storage area already, but it's not a unique room, so we can have another one, which I'll gladly take, because that might mean more loot. And a storage area has archways, so that's good on exits. There's empty boxes and tea chests. There's also sacks and bags. So let's see, I rolled d6. And on a 1 to a 4, which I rolled a 4, a random patrol comes by. I roll on L1P -1. L1B -1. L1P, which is the level 1 patrol, -1. That means a guard comes by as we're looting around in the storage area. They don't like that, apparently. Which I don't know why. I'm just looting their storage. What's the big deal? I just invaded their space and I'm stealing their stuff. What's the big deal? I don't get it. Hydrate reminder from Nightbot. Thanks, Nightbot. A little late. Everybody, stay hydrated out there. Nightbot said that. Is that 45? It's supposed to do that like every 15 minutes. That's the first time this stream it's done that. I thought Nightbot was the one that was going to work consistently, and it's letting me down. What? Someone's trying to say hi. Hold on. Oh, there she is. Here's my kitty. Say hi, Jonesy. Say hi to the guard that's attacking us because we're stealing their loot. Okay. There she goes. She's out of here. She wanted attention, but now apparently she doesn't. Okay, so let me write that this is another storage area. And then we can start brawling with this guard, who apparently doesn't like us stealing their stuff. I don't get it. I really don't. So, we are fighting a guard. They have 7 HP. They're worth 13 experience. They have an interrupt ability called Shield Block, which blocks on secondary 3s and 5s. Their maneuvers are stab and swipe, and their description is a trained guard wearing light armor who has some basic skills in combat. They have duties within the dungeon and can be seen on patrols and at guard posts. That's who we're fighting in this storage room as we're looting around. There's the lair expansion, which gives more one-time chances, sort of cavey crawl encounters. The realm's just finished on Kickstarters in progress. Oh, interesting. I think I have the layers expansion. I think when I bought it, it came with one. I don't know if that's the one it came with or not. And maybe it did. Wait, you know what? I could check real fast here. I have the PDF on my computer. I could pull up in like 30 seconds. What is this? Yeah, I do have the layers expansion. I don't think I bought that. I think it just came with the game. At least the version that I bought with the PDFs and whatnot. So maybe it's like some deluxe version. I don't know. Also, the Halloween haunted house? What do you mean by that? Like, there's a Halloween haunted house? Like, expansion coming out? Alright, let's get in this combat. So, fighting this guard. They block on secondary 3s and 5s, so I need to avoid doing my direct jab if possible. I rolled double 5s. I can't do anything with that. I can almost shift down to my low swish, but I would need 3 shift points. I only have 2. If it was a little bit later in the fight, I could, but I can't. So it's to the guard. Let's see if they're going to either stab or swipe me. They rolled a 5 and a 1. One of their abilities is for a 5 and a 3. They cannot shift to that. They're the ones 6 and 2. They don't have enough shift points. So they're shift out of luck. Round 2. Let's see if I can strike them at all. A 4 and a 2 doesn't do much, but a 5 and a 2, that hits them. And their interrupt abilities will not activate, so I roll a d6 plus 1 as 3 damage total, bringing them down to 4 health. Let's see if they're gonna attack me with a 5 and a 6. They ain't doing nothing. Round 3, let's see if I can finish this guard off. I rolled a 5 and a 4. That's nothing by itself, but I can shift this 4 down 2 to a 2. Use my low swish ability, hit them again. They can't do an interrupt. D6 plus 1, 4 damage. They are dead. That was pretty simple. I didn't take any damage, so that's always nice. I get 13 experience, bringing me up to 43. Almost halfway there. Not quite. 43 out of 100. I still only have 5 HP out of my 10, so that's not good either. I was hoping to find some like smaller healing ways, so I don't have to use my big healing potion right now, but I might have to here soon. Treasure-wise, I get to roll on the pouch table 1 minus 1. So let me scroll up to the pouch table. Well, I just scrolled past it. So I will say, at least how I was playing this this past week when I was playing, is I was always sitting at my desk with my computer, and I essentially had my monitor kind of have 2 different windows, like on one half. On one half, I would have the rules PDF, and on the other half, I would have this codex PDF. And that was pretty nice having both PDFs open at once. And then especially on the computer, I could easily like control F. Well, then I could see the whole table of contents on the side, so I can easily like find stuff a bit easier. So yeah, with just an iPad, it's a little bit more cumbersome. I guess probably if you have the physical version, it's probably a little bit easier, but then you can't search for stuff, which may make it a bit more tricky. I don't know. But let's see what my PT 1 minus 1 roll is. So that's 5 total. There's some dried pumpkin seeds. So yeah, maybe I'll do a D6 divided by 2 roll for the rounded down. Okay, that fell out, so that didn't count. So I found 1 pumpkin seed. Okay. But hey, that brings me up to a total of 4. Real quick, let me look at my not potion. Where's the other thing? Herbal remedies. So what can I make that would help? Healing balm would be good, but I don't have either of those things. Malako leaves you could just chew, which I don't have. Healing paste, I don't have any of that. Yeah, I can't really do too much crafting at the moment. And the potion bombs, none of them would heal me. They all do like damage, or they're used in combat, so I don't know. Yeah, there's a Halloween release that's basically playing a constable in a haunted house. It's $5 on itch. Interesting. I had not heard about that. Yeah, when I played the same way, you usually have like 3 windows open. Yeah, it just makes it easier. Like, obviously, I get there's some aspect of like people play RPGs and board games to like get away from screens and whatnot, but I'm like, it's just so much more convenient when I have like a couple windows open for a couple different PDFs, and I could just like quickly go to whichever one I need. It makes it really nice and convenient. But okay, actually, we have one more thing to do in this room. So there was another thing to roll on, which maybe I should start writing these down so I don't have to like keep going back to the tables. But in the storage area, since I survived, stop. I get to roll on TCT 1 minus 1. Right? Wait, double check. Is this the right one? That wasn't the right one. This is the one, the BT one. I was like, that didn't seem right. Yeah, the BT one, which is the bag table. Oh man, we got some crazy loot here. An 8. There is a length of rope in the sack, some dried pumpkin seeds, and a lockpick. That's a +2 lockpick, and I get 3 attempts with it. Skip those ads. Get that out of here. I need to fix that. Okay, so more pumpkin seeds, which maybe I'll do the old D6 divided by 2 rounded down. So I get 2 pumpkin seeds. Okay, I'm up to 6 now. I found, what was some rope? Length of rope. I love the unspecified amount. It's just a length of rope. And then what was the last thing? Oh yeah, my lockpicks. +2 and I have 3 uses. That's awesome. Because also there was that locked door in the washroom that we can maybe loop back to and open up at some point. Or maybe we'll run into that if we continue downwards, which is where I want to go next. There's this exit south of the storage area. Let's go see what's down there. Maybe something cool, maybe not. Let's see. So it's a 2x4 room with 1 exit. So we'll go, 2x4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just making sure. It's kind of a weird room, but make it fit right there. So yeah, I'm trying to connect these up if I can, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. And I guess I can color in like this little area. That's gonna be nothing. I'll quickly color in this little empty space because that's also nothing. This is nothing. Okay. All right, yeah, let's see what's going on in this room. So that is a 1 and a 5. So down to the ancestry table, level 1. A 1 and a 5 is a storage area. Are you kidding me? This is like the 3rd storage area I have found. This whole base is just storage area. I mean, I'm not really complaining. I'm gonna be finding lots of loot, so I'm okay with that. Let's see, this storage area, there's archways for the exits, so I don't have to worry about that. Let me write in here, this is another storage area. And crates are piled high, creating hidden spaces. Sacks and baskets lean to one side. I roll a d6. Damn. On a 1 to a 3, a random patrol comes by. Roll on L1G -1. If you survive, roll on TCT1 -1. So let me note that so I don't forget. TCT1 -1. And I'm rolling on, what was it again? I have horrible memory. The LG1 -1. Okay. That's pretty simple. Scroll back up to the level 1 guards. I rolled a 3, so that's 2, which means I am facing a thug. Where are the thugs at? The keeper. Why is Minotaur in there? What? That guy's out of place. There it is, thug. Okay. So as I'm looting around in the storage room, a thug appears out of nowhere and attacks me. Kind of messed up. All I was trying to do was loot their stuff in their storage room. They gotta come attack me again. This thug is level 1, is 3 HP. They're worth 6 XP. Their interrupt is a forearm block where they can block secondary 4s, and their main attack is a punch. Description reads, this rough-looking brute has few skills and little training and is often deployed as muscle to do unsavory jobs. They shout abuse as they attack, swinging their fists. Okay. Well, let's see if I can take them down. They only have 3 HP. I should be able to take them down in like 1 hit. One punch man this. So I rolled a 3 and a 2. I could shift this down to a 2, this up to a 3. Their interrupt does not come in, so let's see, d6 plus 1. That's max damage for 7 damage. This thug doesn't even get a chance to go. They are dead. 6 experience for me, bringing him up to 49, 1 point away from being halfway to level 2. Treasure, they have none, but I do get to roll on the TCT 1 minus 1. Which is TCT1. I just probably scrolled right by it. The tea chest table. So that is 6 total. So at the bottom is a small bag of tea leaves, a carved horn, and an acorn. Okay. Tea leaves. Was a carved horn and an acorn, right? Inventory is already almost completely full. I mean, luckily all these items are small, so it's not like it's taking up too much room, but I'm running out of space to write stuff. But let's continue south and see what's below this room. That may connect up with the washroom, perhaps. Would be kind of nice. It's a 5x5 room. There is not enough space for that. I could do a 3x2 room. That's about it. Which maybe I'll just do that. I'll just fit in the room I can, and we'll leave it at that. Oh, why did I draw that like that? I'm an idiot. Okay. So this is also all empty space. So let me quickly color this, scribble this in just to indicate the empty space area real fast here. Make it a little bit easier to see what the heck's going on in this crazy little dungeon. I call it a little dungeon. I mean, this is a pretty big dungeon. We're on room number 10, 11. This is room 11. And it's a small room, so we can see what's going on in there on the small table, which I rolled a 1 and a 4, meaning something cool, maybe. Oh, this is just, we add that up. So that's 5 total. So that's Intuneric Mosaic? I don't quite know what that means. Let me write that down real fast. Room 11 has a Intuneric? I don't know what that word means. Intuneric? Unless I'm just like completely mispronouncing it. Mosaic. There's a large mosaic of Intuneric here. Oh, is that one of the gods? Is that why I'm like confused? Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, it's one of the underworld gods. Intuneric the Merc. So apparently there is a large mosaic of them here. A swirling black visage. If you call to his favor, here -2 to the roll. There is no space to make offerings. Well, that's no good to me. Storage area is better than my nearly 50% holding cells on level 1 dungeon. That's unfortunate. I just realized there was also, I don't remember, was there text I was supposed to read for level 1? There was, but it's too late now. It's gone. Okay. Well, there wasn't any loot or anything to do. I don't have any favor with this god, so I can't really make an offering. So that's that. So we kind of hit a little bit of a dead end here in this room. This butts up against the washroom that was with that locked door. Luckily, I didn't spend my time on that locked door because I kind of found another way into it, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to loop back up to room 8, which is the weapon dump, and go east to see what's over here. Or I could loop back to this corridor and kind of make my way up. I actually maybe like that a little bit better. So maybe I'll loop back to this corridor next to the storage area and see what's north of that. It's dark/darkness as in lack of light. In Romanian, oh, it's the same for most gods. Oh, really? Okay. That's kind of cool. I like when games use different languages for some names and stuff. Okay. Yeah, and some of these pictures, I mean, I didn't print these in color. Some of these images for these subterranean gods are kind of weird. Kind of weird looking gods, I guess. Okay, the thug can go away. They're dead. And let's see what's going on. So I'm looped back to this corridor here, and we're going to see what's going on right above it. Okay. I kind of forgot what to do with this. Oh, I guess this is doubles. So I rolled a 1 and a 1, but then I get to re-roll and then add this. So that's a 3x4 room. Okay. With 2 exits. That's the perfect amount for this little area. So I'm gonna have 1 exit at the top. Or you know what? No, I'll do 1, because you can only have 1 exit per wall. So we'll do 1 there, and then 1 going, up maybe. Oh man, why can't I erase? There we go. So yeah, we'll have 1 exit going there to the east, and we'll have the other one just going straight up like that. Make this room number 12, and we'll see what's going on in this room. Maybe some more enemies to fight. We need to get some more XP going on here. So a 4 and a 4 means it's a barracks. Nice. Okay. Let me write that in real fast and write that in over here. 12 is a barracks. I don't think that's a unique room, is it? No. The exit type is wooden doors. So I'll draw this in real fast, and we'll see what's going on in the barracks. So the barracks reads, you see 2 rows of bunks and some hammocks. There are some people here talking. So I roll on L1M -1 twice. If you survive the fight, you're on TCT1 as you find a tea chest in the corner. So TCT1, I have to roll on L1M -1 twice. So I think those are just Marshall. Yeah, Marshall. So that's a scout and a warrior is who I'm fighting. Oh boy. So a scout and a warrior. This might be a tricky fight. I maybe should have healed up. Let's hope this doesn't end here. That would be kind of sad. Let me grab the scout and the warrior cards, and then we'll see how this combat goes. Scout. Okay, who's the idiot that didn't put these back in order? The idiot's me, but they're also kind of sticking together. Oh my goodness. There's scout. Okay. And then warrior, which is right behind war dog. Yeah, or warhound. Cool. I'm trying to mark the spots so I don't have to go back looking for these again. Okay, my bad. So, scout and a warrior is who we're fighting. First up for the scout, they are level 1. They have 5 HP. They're worth 9 XP. Their interrupt is a swift jump. They can jump away on primary 1s and 6s, and their main maneuvers are jab and quick charge. Description reads, usually out of the dungeon scouting the area, they strive to avoid combat but are not afraid of a fight. Dressed in green and agile on their feet, they thrust the point of their dagger towards you. And then I'm also fighting a warrior. Level 1, 9 HP, worth 22 XP. Their interrupt is a brace or block, and they also have a dodge. Their attacks are flurry and slash, and the description reads, a capable warrior trained in the art of combat. They move quickly and appear well equipped. They wear thick metal bracers, which they can use to block attacks. And that's what we got going on. So, let's begin some combat. I think I'm going to try to take out the scout first. They're weaker. And hopefully I can just have one enemy to deal with then. The scout will... They have an interrupt. They'll interrupt on primary 1s and 6s, which neither of my attacks use. So I could do whatever attack I want. which I can shift this 6 down to a 5. 5 and a 2 is my low swish attack, and I can hit him for d6 plus 1. That's 6 damage, so the scout goes down in one swing. They thought they were agile. Not agile enough for my great axe. Sorry there, bud. Let's see what this warrior is going to do then. A 6 and a 5 means they aren't doing anything. Round 2, back to me. Let's see if I can take some swings at this warrior. A 4 and a 4 doesn't do me too much good. I would need 3 shift points to do anything, and I only have 2. So that's a miss for me. Onto the warrior. A 6 and a 1 for the warrior is nothing. So on to round 3, back to me. I'm gonna attack the warrior again. A 3 and a 4. It's no good for me, but I could shift both down 1 to a 2 and a 3, and that's going to pull off my direct jab. But they are gonna dodge because my secondary is a 3. So instead of d6 plus 1 damage, it's just going to be d6 damage. And that's a 3. So they're down from 9 to 6 health. Not bad. Back to them. What are they doing? I keep rolling in my dice tray like an idiot. Ooh. They hit me with their slash. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's d6 minus 2 damage. Yeah, I'm taking 3 damage. That's not good. I'm down to 2 health. Okay. No, this is totally fine. This is totally fine. How much health? They have 6 health? Okay, maybe not. I'm gonna double check the rules real fast. I need to remember how exactly potions work in the sense of, I don't think they take like an action to do, but I forget when I can use them, if I can use them during combat. Let me see if I can find the rules real fast. Kind of forget where it's at. I could probably just search it here in a second if I don't see it. That's not it. Not it. There's potion bombs. I thought it's under. Okay, use potions. You could drink 1 potion per round of combat. This can be used at any point in the adventure, even during combat. If used during combat, you miss your attack to quaff the liquid, after which your enemy gets to attack again, but you could still use your armor for both attacks. Okay. I think I don't want to die now, so I'm gonna have to just get rid of my 1 potion. Maybe I'll just mark that I have 0 of it, because I kind of want to keep that all written down. But that bumps me up to 12 HP, which is pretty good. Or no, it only bumps me up to 10. You can't go above your max with a potion of healing. There are other potions and other items that can bring you above your base level HP, but that's not one of them. So it's back to their turn. They roll a 6 and a 3, but that's no good for them. So we're on to round 4 now. Hopefully I think I've been keeping up with the round marker. I might be 1 round behind, but whatever. It's round 4 now. And that is a good point. You know what? I'm going to mark that down right now. And that's one thing that, it's like little things like that make me like this game and like the crafting aspect. It's like, oh, you drink a potion. Well, now you got an empty bottle that you can use to make a potion bomb. So yeah, let me mark that down. Empty. I'm just going to write empty potion. Yeah. Good point. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, it's back to my turn. I now have +1 shift, so I have 3 shift total. What can I do? What do they block on primary 4s or secondary 3s? So I need to try to do a low switch, which I can do because I could add 2 to that and add a 1 to that. So we're good there. My low switch connects. D6 plus 1 damage is 5 damage. They have 6 health, so they are barely alive with 1 health left, but they're still kicking. It's back to them. They roll 3 and a 3, which is nothing, but they can shift up to a 4 and a 3 to do their flurry attack. It's D6 minus 3 damage. They rolled a 4, so they're only doing 1 damage. Luckily, I just healed up, so I'm only down to 9 health at this point. Round 5, +2 shift. I think it's almost guaranteed I'll finish this guy off. A 1 and a 3. Well, maybe not. Maybe, I don't know, I think I still do, because I could shift up my 1 to a 2, wherever the heck a 2 is. A 2 and a 3. I'm able to pull off my direct jab. They will partially dodge this with a -1, so I'm just rolling a straight D6, but 3 damage, they're dead. Okay, that was kind of a tough fight. You know, a bit of a 2-on-1, no fun for me, but I'm gonna get some pretty sweet experience and treasure and all that good stuff. So XP wise, I get 31 XP. So that brings me up to a cool 80 out of 100, which is nice. Next 1 or 2 combats, I will level up. So 80 out of 100. I also get to roll in the PT, the pouch table twice, which is pretty handy. So let's hope I get some good stuff. Let me hop on over to the pouch table and find that. Scroll down to it. Pouch table 1. 2d6 roll. I keep rolling in my dang dice tray. 5 means dried pumpkin seeds. Let's go. Let me see how many I find. I find 3, apparently. That's not too bad. I have so many. I have 9 dried pumpkin seeds. And then we get to do that again. Another pouch table 1, 4. The other pouch is empty, but I also get 2 extra pouches. So I have a total of 4 pouches. One of them has some sticky glue that I got from the fungus earlier. And then I have just 3 empty pouches. Pretty good. And that is it for the barracks. Barracks have been cleared, XP gained, warrior and scout taken down a notch. And we're on our way. Gotta get these cards organized again. How are we doing on time? Okay. I'll definitely keep playing a little bit longer. I don't think I'm gonna do a super long stream today, especially because I think next week's stream will be a long one. So, well, at least longer. So yeah. Yeah, I got a busy week this week, so I got stuff I need to do, take care of after the stream. But yeah, I still want to play a little bit more. Let's keep exploring this dungeon. I think I'm gonna go north of the barracks. So I guess first I need to do a lock check. So I roll a d6. All the metal doors are locked, but luckily this room has wooden doors, so we're chilling there. And let's see what's above the barracks. So keep rolling outside the tray. Oh boy. A 6x6 room. This room is huge. I don't think there's enough space for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's not. So I could do a 4x6 room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's what? 1 exit? Yeah, maybe I'll just connect it up, like make the exit connect up to this way. That sounds good. And this is just like empty space there. That's totally fine. Make this room 13. Okay. Let's see what's in this room. And I guess because I shrunk the room size, it's not a large room anymore, because it would have been. Now it's a 6x5, which is 30. It needs to be larger than 30. Okay. It needs to be larger than 32 for it to be a large room. This is a normal sized room. A 2 and a 1 gives us a blacksmith's, which we already have, so we reroll. A 6 and a 2. I don't think we've had that yet. A damp space. Let's go. Love to see that. So let me write that in. 13 is a damp space. Some exciting dungeon rooms. Obviously, this is only level 1. Let's skip that. Level 1 is only going to have some, nothing too crazy, I imagine. So damp space says, well, first off, the 1 exit is just a wooden door, which is fine. There's a leak dripping down from above, so the space is abandoned and wet. Fight a fungal creature living here. Roll a d6. I rolled a 6, so I have to fight a fungal geist. Fun times. Fungal geist, where are ye? Some of these creatures, I'm like flipping through these cards. I would not want to fight some of these guys, but we're fighting a fungal geist, which doesn't seem that bad. So, Fungal Geist has only 5 HP, it's worth 6 experience. It has an interrupt ability called Rubbery Hide, and its maneuver is something called Mycelium Lash. Its description reads, a squat fungal humanoid, part mushroom, part unknown beast. Their appearance can be varied, but they usually have a wide textured cap, and small mushrooms sometimes cover their torso. Let's see if I can take down this Fungal Geist. 5 HP. That should be a cakewalk. You kidding me? I sneeze and I do 5 HP. Do 5 damage, so this should be easy. Famous last words, and this thing's gonna do its like primal attack, one-shot me, and then I'm just dead. Let me see what I do. Hey, look at that. That's a good first roll. That's a 5 and a 2 low swish. That's an exact strike. So that means I do D6 plus 3 damage. That's a good start. And that's max damage. So first strike, I do 9 damage against this fool. And they are down before they could even know what the heck's going on. Well, that was quick. 86 experience. I'm almost level 2. I at least want to hit level 2. That's. I don't think I'm gonna hit level 2 of the dungeon, but at least if I hit level 2 experience-wise, that'd be kind of nice. And I get D3 Geist mushrooms, so I just get 1 Geist mushroom. But hey, that's probably useful. I'm just gonna start writing my loot down here. I don't know. Geist mushroom. I got 1 of them. Cool. Was there anything else in the damp space? Nope, that was it. Just a fungus creature. So then we've hit a bit of a dead end because this exit just leads up to the corridor we already were. So we can then hop back down into the barracks. And I kind of want to go out this other door to the east of the barracks and see what's going on there. Big rolls. Not really. Okay, it's a 2x5 room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that kind of fits in nicely. And how many exits? 1 exit. So we'll have the exit just go out the other end. Something like that. And this is room number 14. Cool. Kind of fits in pretty nice there. And then let's see what type of room it is. It's a 5 and a 2, gives us sleeping quarters. This is not a unique room. I don't think damp space was either. So 14 is the sleeping quarters. I also will write that. I like writing it in both spots. Cool. All right, let's see what's going on in the sleeping quarters. This can have random exits, so I'll roll that after. It says behind 2 curtains, one on each side, are neat wooden framed beds. And the encounter says someone jumps up. Roll on L1R. You see a religious carving atop a cupboard, and I can do that after. So I gotta fight L1R. What is that? I don't know what that is. L1R. Religious enemy. Ah. I rolled a 1, so I am going to be fighting a crazed preacher. Which I kind of flipped right to him. Nice. So this crazed preacher is a level 1 enemy. They have 4 HP, worth 5 XP. Their main interrupt is a Bible block. Their maneuver is a wild scratch, and their description reads, spreading their vile words in amongst the inhabitants of the dungeon, these crazed robes preachers are full of fury. They scream and rush towards you. That's who I'm fighting. Let's duel. They 5. Wait, no, 4 HP. That's even better. I could take him out in one hit, probably, maybe. We'll see. A 5 and a 5 does not do me any good. That's a miss for my first attack. See what they're doing. A 1 and a 6 is a miss for their wild scratch. Round 2. A 6 and a 4 is not going to do me any good. I can't shift to anything. Their attack, they need a 4 and a 3. They do not have enough shift value to do anything. Round 3, back to me. A 4 and a 4 still doesn't do me any good. I have to shift down 2 and 1. I need 3 shift total. Nothing for me. Let's see what they're doing. A 1 and a 1 is a mishap attack roll. So the wild creature becomes caught up in their robes and misses a round of combat. Nice. So then we're on to round 4, which means we get some extra shift adjustment. I rolled a 1 and a 6. I'm not gonna be able to shift to anything. That sucks. Let's see what they're doing though. They can shift down to their 4 and 3. My armor hasn't blocked, I don't think, a single attack this game. I picked the wrong piece of armor. They're doing D6 minus 3 damage. So they are doing no damage. Nice. Round 5 with +2 shift modifier. I roll a 1 and a 3. I can shift up to a 2 and a 3. And finally do some more damage with my direct jab. As I do 4 damage, taking out this crazed creature. Earns me 5 experience, bringing it up to 91. Almost enough to level up. Almost. Not quite. Really close. 9 experience. Basically all the way there. I can roll on the RPT1 table, which I assume is like religious something treasure. Religious pouch table. Right, I should have known. Ooh, that was a pretty good roll of 10. There's a necklace inside made of ebony beads and a small capsule containing scarlet erivitus. So let me mark all that down on my character sheet. Necklace made of ebony beads. And then, yeah, small capsule that's containing scarlet. What's it? Erivitus? Erivitus? Whatever. It's one of the herbs that's used for making cool stuff, which, let me see what, I know that's used for making, what? That is one of the things needed for medicated bandages and also healing paste. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the other ingredients yet, so I got some stuff, but yeah, not everything yet. So now I need to, I forget what the other table I was supposed to roll on because I didn't write it down like an idiot. What was it? 5-2, the sleeping quarters, I gotta roll on RATT1. Is that like religious artifact table? Treasure table, of course. I keep doing that. Okay, let's see what I roll here. A 6. Someone has left 1 bottle of wine and bread here. I gain 1 ration. Yes, nice. I'm up to 4 rations now. Okay, the sleeping quarters has been cleared, though I believe that's another thing I gotta scroll back down to double check because I'm an idiot and didn't write this down, but I believe the sleeping quarters had, yeah, random exits, so I gotta roll to see the exit type. That's a 6 and a 3, which means it's a portcullis. And how do I draw those? It's like a with a thing with dots in between. Do like that, and like dots. And portcullises are always closed by default. So yeah, that's a thing. I forget. I think I roll on a table when I first find one. Let me triple check that real fast. I think I gotta go back just a little bit. Sometimes they're concealed. Roll on portcullis. Sometimes they're concealed or other side. Roll on portcullis lever table 1. So I just do that whenever I find a portcullis? I guess. This is the first time this has happened. So, okay, let's see what this says. So that's a 6, which means a lever next to the portcullis works and opens all the portcullises in the room. Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna put like a little check mark. Like we're good. We can go through this door, and go through it I shall. We'll see what's on the other side. It's a 6x4 room. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's only one other exit. We'll probably have it going kind of up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, this is just empty space. I'll quickly color that in. And this is also gonna just be empty space. Or just like, not necessarily empty space, but walls or just any unexplorable area. And yeah, let's roll up a room type. See what's going on in room number 15. This is a big dungeon. I rolled a 5 and a 6. So a 5 and a 6 gives us a dump. Nice. Sure, there's gonna be lots of good loot in a dump. First off, dump is not unique. It has archways for exit, so I don't have to adjust that. It says there is a leak dripping down from above. Oh wait, that's a damp space. I'm reading. I was like, that sounds too familiar. Okay. The space has been used to dump rubbish and stone, piles of which filled 2 corners. You can rummage through the rubble, roll on RUPT1, and then on IAUT1. Okay. So there's a rubbish pile table, and we have to roll on the interrupt table next. So this says, you realize that this is the remains of a fire with a few coals scattered amongst in the debris. There's that few word again. I'm gonna do a D6 halved. So we just found 1 thing of coal. I don't know if that's the same as the lump of coal I found earlier, but I'm just going to assume it is and add it to that. So I have 3 kind of lumps of coal. And now I have to roll on the IAUT table. Interrupts and unexpected. So this says there is a box set into the wall here with a makeshift panel door. It is closed and has a rough lock -3. Can be opened with lock picks, but not removed from its housing or smashed open. If opened, gain 30 XP and roll on CT1. A rough lock -3. Let's see what the lock level is. So that's it's just a lock level of 5. I mean, that seems pretty doable. Because I have lock picks that give me +2, and they can use them 3 times. So I only need 5 or greater. So I'm gonna try to lock pick it. So I'll just roll 2d6, add 2, and hope it's greater than 5. And it is. That's 7. I will use one of my lockpick uses, but we got this thing opened. Which means, well, it means what it says. If opened, I gain 30 experience and roll on CT1. So 30 experience puts me at 121. Which is more than enough to level up. And I will do that here in a second after I first do the CT1 table, which I think is just the chess table. I think. I don't know. I probably just went past it again. Which this says, the chest contains a clutter of medical objects, including 2 bandages and a potion of healing and a cabbage. That's kind of huge. Dang, okay. 2 bandages. Yeah, like it tells me a number. Very nice. Bandages 2. Cabbage 1. And a potion of healing. Nice. That's kind of huge. It's kind of huge. And I got 30 experience for that. So, dun, 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 I level up. So we could do a bit of leveling up real fast. So I become level 2. My XP or my HP increases by 10. My baseline increases by 10, and my current HP increases. So I'm at 19 out of 20 HP. I could switch out one of my maneuvers, which I'm good on, and I'll have to double check, but I don't know if there's any other. Oh, I guess I have this table right here. Duh. My shift is the same. My discipline's the same. I do get +1 precision now, which is nice. Help me for my precision rolls. And the other thing is my next level up is at 500 experience, which I'm currently sitting at 121. So that's not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. Well, where are we at here? I mean, I hit level 2. That was one of the main things I wanted to do. We didn't hit level 2 of the dungeon yet. We don't really have like half this level explored yet. But I'll do a couple more rooms. I think I'm gonna, not probably do stream too much longer, but we'll do a couple more rooms. I don't want to end on just ending on the dump room, even though it was good. I mean, I found the hidden chest in the wall that I was able to lockpick, and it was good, but I don't want to end on the dump. So let me reset my dice, and let's see what's north of the dump. And it's a 4x3 room with 2 exits. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll have it just go right up to the edge. 4x3. So we'll have like 1 exit off to the right, and 1 exit going up. Okay, that works. I like this. This is room number 16. And we'll see what's going on in room number 16. It's a normal sized room, so I'm just doing a normal roll. That is a 6 and a 1. Got to go back to the other PDF. And I can go find the table I need. Scroll on down, scroll on down. Did I go past it? I did not. 6 and a 1 gives me the apothecary. Nice. Which that is a unique room. And the apothecary has random exits. I'll deal with that after. It says a table is covered in jars and bottles. Scrolls full of scripts are tacked to the wall. You must face the apothecary. If you survive, I can do stuff. Let's see if I survive first. I mean, I just leveled up, so I imagine I will. The apothecary can't be that tough, right? This apothecary is level 1. They have 12 HP. They're worth 35 XP. They have a couple interrupts, including a blinding smoke and a glowing shield. Their maneuvers are firebomb and gas cloud. And the description reads, the apothecary wears breeches and a leather tunic, which they open to reveal a collection of vials. Pulling one free, they throw it at you as they attack. Round 1 of combat. Let me mark down their HP real fast. And let's get going. Let's see if we can take out this apothecary real fast here. Should be easy, right? A 5 and a 2. That's a good start. That is my low swish attack. I rolled an exact strike, so I get to roll a d6 plus 3, and that's a 5. So that is 8 damage, bringing them down to 4 in my first strike. Definitely not too bad. But that also, they would actually be at 6 instead of 4, because they did have their glowing shield, which would have reduced the damage. For their attack, they rolled 2 and a 3, which for their maneuvers is not going to do them any good. So round 2, back to me. I roll a 6 and a 4. I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. Their attack, they roll a 3 and a 6. They can't do anything with that. Round 3, back to me. I roll double ones, which I unfortunately am 1 point away from doing anything with that. Back to them. They roll a 6 and a 2, which they cannot do anything with. On to round 4, and we now get the shift bonus. Let's see what I can do if I can finish this guy off. 6 and a 3. I can shift down to a 5 and a 2. He will use his glowing shield. So instead of d6 plus 1, it's d6 minus 1. Which I roll a 2, so I only do 1 damage, bringing him down to 5 health. Back to their turn. They roll a 2 and a 4, which they are able to shift to use their gas cloud ability, which does 3 damage, which isn't too bad, but it's bringing me down to 16. That has a special ability that I cannot attack next turn. So round 5 plus 2 shift, I can't attack, so it's their go. They roll a 2 and a 3, which with 3 shift, they can't do anything with. So now we're on to round 6 with plus 3 shift. And I imagine I could finish this off right now. I roll a 5 and a 5. I can shift this 5 down to a 2. That's a secondary 2, right? Yeah, so that means they're going to use their glowing shield. This was what, 5 and 5? Can I not? No, I can't. So I have to do it that way. So I roll d6 minus 1. That's 5 damage, and this apothecary is dead. They put up a valiant fight, but was not good enough. I get 35 experience, bringing me up to 156, which is a good amount of XP. Still sitting at 16 HP, which isn't bad. I get to roll on POT1, which I imagine is some potion table. And let's see what I get. So POT... Where the heck is POT? I do not see this table. It does not exist. Ah, here it is. Of course, it's not in the loot table, even though it's loot. And I only roll 1d6, but I guess they're both 4s, so whatever. I'll still take that. I get a potion of examination. Nice. Cool. Okay, let me double check there was nothing else in this room that I was supposed to do like afterwards. Yeah, I can. If you survive, you can search the table. I can roll on POT 1 and 2, so I can find more potions. So let's go ahead and do that real fast. I'll just roll both of these, I guess. Let's see what I get. So again, a potion of healing and a potion of finesse. So I have a second potion of healing and my first potion of finesse. I think I spelled that wrong. Yeah, there's only one N. Whatever. Skip that. Get out of here. Okay. Apothecary is down. That was a bit of a tough fight, but hey, we made it through. Alive. Took a couple hits along the way, but that's okay. It's bound to happen. We've cleared the apothecary's room. Cool. All right, so apothecary has been cleared. We got some new loot. We've leveled up. Got a lot of potions now, which is pretty nice. A ton of loot. Extra bandages, some stuff we can start crafting some herbal remedies with. We got extra rations. We're sitting pretty good. I think this is a pretty good spot to start wrapping it up. And yeah, I think I'll kind of, pause my adventure here after that pretty climactic fight. Got some good loot. I'm in a good spot, so I kind of want to stop while I'm ahead. And then we can come back to this some other time. Maybe I'll just do, maybe another stream in the future. Maybe I'll just do like a one-off video where I continue this. I don't know, but I definitely like this game and I want to continue it a bit more. So before I end stream, I'll first give my final thoughts, and then at the end, I will quickly, like always, kind of tease out what's upcoming on the channel. So overall, my final thoughts of this game. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, yeah, I do like it. I would say, because I got kind of conflicted, because I don't think anywhere in this book this calls itself an RPG. And I personally, I'm not trying to like gatekeep or like get into the definition of an RPG, but like I wouldn't consider it something like, you know, D&D or Ironsworn or anything like that. This is definitely it's just a solo dungeon diving game. The best comparison is like something like 4 Against Darkness, D100 Dungeon, Derelict Delvers, stuff like in those kind of realms of games. And I think this is probably one of my favorites. I wasn't huge on 4 Against Darkness personally. I know there's tons of supplements out there that would probably make 4 Against Darkness a lot better. I don't know. I just feel it's like I kind of get on one hand why you don't include everything in the base game, but at the same time it's like, if I need to buy all these extra supplements to make the game better or like add more stuff, like it just feels kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too judgmental, but maybe I just need to try some of the other supplements for 4 Against Darkness. But I would say I do like this better than D100 Dungeon. I do like this better than 4 Against Darkness. I mean, Derelict Delvers I like a whole lot. It's a different genre, so it's kind of hard to compare. But yeah, there's a lot of cool aspects I like about this. So the dungeon generation I think is top notch. It's like the actual layout is fantastic. I like the rooms. I like the way it does it. 2 dice for the length and width, the number of exits. It makes cool layouts of dungeons. It works well. It's pretty simple. I like it. Another thing I like about this game, I like all the crafting systems. I haven't gotten too much into them yet, but the fact that you can craft herbal remedies and craft potion bombs, I think is a cool aspect. I always appreciate a good crafting system. That's one thing I really liked about Forbidden Lands. It's one thing I really liked about the Fallout RPG, and I like it in this game too. Definitely not as much as maybe the other two, because those have a lot more like in-depth crafting, but this still does a pretty good job, I think. But yeah, I do like this game. I like is the combat is pretty interesting. That's one thing that I was kind of, I don't know, I'm not huge on combat and RPGs, and I think like D100 Dungeon, that was one of my least favorite things with combat. I just felt like I had no choices. It was just kind of pretty deterministic. You just do the combat, you resolve it, whatever happens, happens. And it didn't really feel like I had control. I kind of got the same feeling with 4 Against Darkness a little bit. But this, I do feel like it gives me a lot more options with the different maneuvers, the weapons you choose, the armor you choose, which maneuvers you try for, stuff like that. So even though I'm still pretty low level, it gives me a gist of the combat, and I do think I like this combat system better than the other two. I really like the combat fatigue system. I think is a really interesting idea, which I like a lot. I like that all the enemies have cards with their own unique maneuvers and interrupts and mishap rolls and prime attack rolls. I like the card system. It works pretty good for having the different enemies and whatnot. So this is all the stuff I like. Some things I don't like. There were a couple of things in the rules that were unclear to me, that didn't make a whole lot of sense, that I just didn't know how to handle. I do like that all of the tables are in one PDF, but there's a lot of going back and forth. As you probably saw here, there's a lot of like, oh, I roll up this table. Okay, I gotta go find this PT1 table. Okay, now I gotta go to this table and this table, this table. Like, having a lot of tables is cool, but also there's just a lot of like going back and forth between stuff, which is just kind of inevitable when you have all these tables. But I mean, they're organized in a pretty great, not great way, but in a way that kind of makes sense. You know, have the loot tables here, the level tables here, stuff like that. So it's organized in a way that makes sense, but it's still kind of cumbersome to like switch back and forth between stuff and do stuff that way. Yeah, another complaint which kind of came up in this, and this came up in my previous playthroughs, is some of the wordings on some of the loot is a little vague on how much you get of an item. If it says you get a few of this item or some of this item, how many is that? Do I just get one quantity of that item, or is a few mean I get multiple? I really wish they would just give me a number. Tell me I get 1 pumpkin seed or 3 lumps of coal. Don't tell me a few. Don't tell me a couple. Don't tell me some. Because, I don't know. In a game like this where there's, like, crafting and whatnot, like, you need... And then, you know, there's inventory management. Like, you kind of need to know exactly how much of a thing you have. And I don't know. Maybe that's just me reading too much into it. And I think kind of like what someone said earlier that, like, yeah, it's probably just made to represent one quantity of that thing when it says a few or some or couple, which could be the case. That makes the most sense, but I just wish the wording was different, or they just gave me a number is probably what would be preferable. Yeah, that's a minor nitpick, but it's something I don't like. What else do I have to say about this? I do wish it is a solo dungeon diving game. I do wish, and it would probably take to like rework the whole game to do this. Maybe, I don't know, but I mean, it does seem like a fun game to play with other people. So I do, maybe at some point there'll be an expansion that adds like multiplayer or something, which would be kind of cool. But I do kind of wish it had, you know, options for other players. That would be kind of neat. But yeah, overall, I like it. It's definitely one I want to play some more and get past at least level 1. I mean, there's 10 whole levels, so there's definitely a lot more to this game. I've only reached character level 2. I'm still on dungeon level 1. So there's still a lot of depth with getting more maneuvers, more armor, upgrading your character, going to deeper levels of the dungeon, fighting more difficult enemies, and dealing with other puzzles and whatnot. Like, I feel like I've only really started to scratch the surface of this game, though I do feel like with the playthroughs I've done, I've gotten a pretty good kind of idea of what it's like. So the character sheets aren't too bad. I do like them. Some of them spots are a little bit weird. Doesn't seem like a lot of spots for small items. I had to start writing stuff down here. And yeah, there's like a whole loot lock, like a lockup system, which seems kind of cool. Like you go back to the tavern, you can like store stuff, which I like. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, overall, I do like it. I want to play more, but yeah, I would say like of the dungeon diving games, like 4 Against Darkness, D100 Dungeon, this is definitely my favorite of them so far. Now, like I said, I'm still pretty new to this game, and also stuff like 4 Against Darkness, I haven't gotten any other supplements, which I've heard really help add more to the game, so I think that's something I need to try sometime. I know D100 Dungeon also has numerous expansions. The one I have tried is the World Builder one, which does add a good amount. It does, but it still doesn't make the game into what I would really want. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm curious. I know Alex in the chat mentioned earlier that there's already I have the Layers expansion, which I haven't tried yet. There's a Realms expansion on the way, I guess, and some other ones too. So I'm definitely curious to try those out, maybe, or at least look into them and see what they offer. But yeah, that's kind of my final thoughts. But I do think, I think one of my favorite things about this is I do really like the dungeon generation system. I think it gives cool dungeon layouts. I like that. Maybe this is just a me thing. Like a lot of dungeon generators would give you like unique room sizes, like, oh, this is a triangle room or a hexagon or a circle room, which like I get adds to the variety of it, but sometimes it's hard to draw, especially on like a grid and like to lay it out right. Like I like that all the dungeon rooms are either squares or rectangles. It just makes drawing it easier, gives you varied room sizes with the dice. Like that's probably one of my favorite aspects of this is just the whole dungeon layout system, especially it's really pretty easy to use. So yeah, that's what I have to say about 2D6 Dungeon. All right, so yeah, one thing I maybe would want to try too is like pairing this with another, like I know Alex also in the chat mentioned earlier, pairing this with Mythic, which I could see working pretty well. But what I would maybe personally want to try is just kind of taking another RPG system and plugging it into this. Like taking like, I don't know, like Ironsworn and using the dungeon generation system and still maybe using like the level types and stuff like that, I think would be kind of cool to do. And I think maybe that would be something I would want to try soon, is because I do think, like I said, the dungeon generation like layout is really good. There's lots of good tables, so I could see it's like the one thing missing is just like there's not a lot of, besides the what was it, inventive like section, there's not a whole lot of like role play opportunities. And especially like since every creature you encounter is like an enemy, everything you encounter is just basically trying to kill you, and you're just kind of fighting. There's no like persuasion or trying to like trick people or doing anything like that. It's just fighting, which is fine for like a dungeon game like this, but I don't know, I kind of would want more. So yeah, that's what I think. But you know, I think it's worth a try. I think it has a lot of cool aspects to it. And yeah, I'm curious to at least look at some of the other expansions and see if maybe that'll fix some of the problems I have or add some of the stuff that I wish it had and so forth. So yeah, let me quickly hop over to my just chatting screen here. As I quickly wrap up stuff here today, I will quickly tease out what's upcoming on the channel this week. Okay, there we go. So, still just one video a week and then one stream a week. So video will be coming out on Wednesday. And this Wednesday, I'm doing another pub meeple ranking. So 2 weeks ago-ish, like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I did a video where I ranked pretty much every board game in my collection. So this Wednesday, I'll be releasing a video where I will be doing the same type of video, but for all the RPGs in my collection. And I will be including like this in it. I'll be including like 4 Against Darkness, D100 Dungeon, even though those may not technically be RPGs, or maybe they are, depending on who you ask and like what definition you use. I'm including them in that video. So that'll be Wednesday. So if you want to see where 2D6 Dungeon lands in that video, be sure to check that out and see what's my favorite current RPG. I've played a bunch last year. A lot of it's kind of weird. I was looking back at my videos and I didn't realize that. I mean, I've had this channel for almost 2 years now. And my first year, I did one Dungeons and Dragons video. It was like a stream, and then that was it. And then it wasn't until like beginning of last year that I started kind of exploring into other RPGs, where I did like an Escape the City video, and I played Broken Cask, and then I did D&D with Mythic, and I started going into like Starforge, Ironsworn, Fallout, stuff like that. So it wasn't until last year that I really started even exploring other RPGs besides D&D, and it's been a lot of fun. I've been really thoroughly enjoying playing all these other games, so I'm really actually looking forward to this video on Wednesday to kind of compare them, see which one's my favorite, see how they rank, stuff like that. So that's what's coming Wednesday, and then next Sunday, for the next Solo Gaming Sunday stream, I will be doing a 1,000 subscriber special, because this last week I hit 1,000 subscribers on the channel, which is very exciting. It's kind of crazy that I'm at 1,000 subscribers. I didn't think that was going to happen. This channel hasn't been around that long. It's been a little under 2 years. And I am very grateful for that. And so I want to do a little special stream. For the stream, I had a couple ideas. I was floating around, a couple options I was thinking of. I'll throw out some of the ones that I'm probably not going to do. So I was thinking like I could do a stream where I just kind of chill and play a bunch of card games. They play with a 52 deck of cards. I could start with one, have chat recommend other ones, which I'm not going to probably do that. Another idea that I thought would be kind of fun, and maybe I'll do this for another stream or video in the future, is where I attempt to speed run Hadrian's Wall solo campaign and actually like speed run it, like have a timer with splits and try to see how fast I could try to complete the entire campaign. That would probably be a long stream, and that might be, I don't know, kind of maybe not boring, but like I'm just gonna be playing the same game for like hours straight, so might get a bit monotonous or whatever. But I thought that would be kind of a fun stream, which I might still do that in the future at some point. But what I intend to do for next Sunday stream is doing what I'm gonna call a board game bonanza, where I will essentially just be sitting here. I'm gonna set up a game to start and then play through that and then just see what everybody recommends. I'll let you all in the chat help me decide what games to pick next, and I'll make it a longer stream. I'll probably start an hour or two earlier and just kind of hang out and just play whatever games y'all want me to play. I'll probably shy away from playing any super heavy games just because of the long setup and whatnot. So I'll probably stick to like lighter and medium weight games. But yeah, I think that would be kind of fun, of just playing a whole slew of whatever games y'all wanted me to play or had interest in me playing. So that's my tentative plan, is next Sunday doing a 1,000 subscriber board game bonanza play session type thing. But if those other ideas sound cool, let me know. Maybe I'll still do them in the future. Maybe I'll do this instead. Let me know what y'all think of that idea, because I'm definitely curious to hear your opinions and whatnot. And yeah, also next week with the 1,000 subscriber special, I will be making a couple announcements for the channel. Not teasing out, but yeah, just announcing a few new things coming to the channel. New stuff. Exciting stuff, I think. Yeah, so I won't say too much more about that now, but be on the lookout for that next week, as there'll be some cool new things and features coming to the channel. And yeah, it should be cool. Should be fun. So yeah, that's what's coming this week. Is Wednesday, the Pub Meeple ranking video of every RPG in my collection, figuring out which RPG is my number one favorite right now. I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be, but who knows? Maybe that video will not change my expectations, but it'll vary from what I think. And then yeah, next Sunday will be what I'm just calling a board game bonanza, of just me playing a bunch of whatever games you guys want me to play. I'll probably start with some like Bullet Heart, have that set up ahead of time, play a game or two of that, and then switch to, maybe I'll do like polls in the chat throughout the stream, having you all vote on some games to pick from, and then I'll just play that, do another poll, kind of rinse, wash, and repeat. The other idea I had also for like the 1,000 subscriber stream was like doing another board game arena stream, which I did enjoy last one. I was bummed that I messed up the resolution, so the screen looked all shrunk, which kind of sucked. So I do want to do another one at some point, but I'll maybe just do that as another random stream in the future. But yeah, I think that's all I got here for today. Make sure I'm not forgetting to say anything. No, I think that's it. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for everybody that tuned in live. It's always fun chatting with people and hanging out live. Thank you, Chris Hemling and Christopher Ray, and Nathaniel Robinson and Christopher Ray, for the super chat. I always greatly appreciate that. Means a lot, helping support the channel. I'm using any donations and stuff through the channel to help fund new stuff for the channel, not just buying new games, but helping get better equipment and other stuff like that. So I do really appreciate that. Alex Dracia, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Appreciate you all stopping by, hanging out, and watching me go through this dungeon. And surprisingly, didn't die yet. So we'll see if that remains true for the next time I play this. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this stream, a like would be greatly appreciated. Leave a comment below and tell me what you want to see for next week's stream. Would you want to see that board game bonanza? Are there certain games you'd want me to play? Would you rather see me play some card games? Just me speedrunning Hadrian's Wall campaign sound interesting? Let me know. Maybe I'll still do that at some point in the future, because it sounds like a fun idea, even though it would probably be pretty tough and maybe kind of just, I don't know how it would go, but it sounded like a fun idea, so it's just something I wanted to throw out there. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day or night or whatever time zone it is for you, and I'll see you next time. Have a good week, everybody. Go delve into some dungeons.